Exiles, and welcome back to the Exilecon Race Qualifiers. Race Qualifier number 2. If you missed last week, it was an exciting and insanely close race. We'll talk about that in a second. I am ZiggyD, joined by Rised QT. Hey, deal mate. Welcome.
Great this evening. Looking forward to these races. And yeah, last week was a crazy one for sure. We had some really close finishes, a really tight race, 2 different classes competing against each other with no real conclusion to what's superior. Is it mercenary? Is it huntress?
Yeah.
There's some switch ups for some players,
Mhm,
but it's a large amount of effort to switch to another class this deep into, well, now the second one of the 4 qualifiers that we're going to be having for Exilecon.
That's right. There is 4 people who are going to win Ultra VIP tickets to be flown to and looked after and pampered in New Zealand to race on the main stage for the Path of Exile 2 race. And even Path of Exile 1 race is happening later as well. So we've got lots of weeks of Path of Exile racing ahead of us. Very exciting times. But there's some strong competition here in these PoE 2 races, as we saw more than 8 people, I would say, that are real strong contenders for these top 4 slots. So that math obviously isn't mathing, so players are doing everything they can, and last week they were being super secretive, and this week hasn't really changed much, although everyone's kind of seen a bit of a glimpse into each other's strategies. Some players were holding things back. Probably not going to be doing that this week if they missed their chance to qualify, which everyone except Giluo did indeed miss their chance to qualify. Giluo, who was the top Infernalist witch racer in the past, did a hot swap to Huntress for the first qualifier and won last week's race with 2 hours and 6 minutes and 46 seconds, the time to beat the current world record for Act 5 Tavakai kills in Path of Exile 2 on in an official event. So that is the time to beat. But they were being closely trailed by people. We had Whole New Society less like 2 minutes behind, Luxian, I Am Exile. We had people like Woodish and Mostly Works showing up. A mystery racer by the name of 23131124779, who we don't know who that is. It starts with 23. We had some notable people that we didn't get to see much of, like Guy That Dies in Gormus, who are also top contenders. There's some real interesting competition there. And you said it's hard to tell the difference between Huntress and Mercenary here. Some people are struggling about whether to swap or not. Some people are swapping, some people aren't. What do you think Rise is going to... I'm actually predicting we're going to have like 2 Huntresses and 2 Mercenaries. Unless everyone swaps them.
Ooh.
That would be cool,
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think the consensus is there that Huntress overall is faster. But you have to keep in mind that although this is not a hardcore race, you do have a 2.5-minute penalty whenever you die. And so, as far as I can tell, all of the PBs that I've seen, all of the records that everybody keeps mentioning, they have a Huntress at the top, but they have multiple rips. I think Giluo only ended up dying once. Last week, he had a really impressive Tavakai run. Really, that's a fight that so many people struggle with, and he made it look so easy. Honestly, same for Benedictus. These are really troublesome fights, and Giluo really popped off last week. Is that something that our players can replicate? Is it just a him thing? I don't know. We're going to have to find out today.
Yeah, we were expecting Huntress, by all accounts, was like the squishier of the class, and certainly early game that can be the case, but it turns out the late game there can be pretty smooth. There's some interesting dynamics between the 2 classes that, because I was talking to someone who is changing class and their pros and cons, and I also spoke to someone else who was like considering it but maybe isn't, so it's pretty interesting to see how that is
so mysterious
out. I know it is all so mysterious, and I won't say anything until we see it on stream. I wonder if Giluo will be racing for the practice. I imagine they won't be necessarily, you want to keep sharp right in the lead up to Exilecon as much as possible, but
it's a show of dominance, right? In the past Exilecon qualifiers for PoE 1, 2023, he was just destroying everybody. And it's a factor, right? Like, some players will thrive thinking that they are top of the pack. Some players, they like being second. I always think about Whole New Society because he's kind of like third for the majority of the race, and bam, all of a sudden. He didn't quite get there last week, buying up really close to Jiluo. And that's just something that is very tactical for some of our players. I think Jiluo is more of the Havoc type. He really likes being on top, and he's not letting go.
I am hearing from production that Jiluo has indeed made a character this race, so we might get to see them competing once again and see if they can get their opponents rattled as well as stay on top of their game. Exciting times. But even though they had such a good win, they weren't necessarily dominant the whole race. Like, there were other people in the lead and the lead up to it. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. Another week of practice. I know for a fact that some people have been practicing all day, every day since the last race, especially if they had like a little bit of a hard race last time. Like, for example, Guy That Dies, I was watching him and talking to him, and he had a bit of a rough race last week and has been going very hard in the practice. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. I'm also curious to see Mostly Works gave us a Druid showcase, the only non-Huntress or Mercenary. And it looked good.
Yeah.
They just didn't get any defensive gear and died.
Yeah, I think as we switch over to our players with just a minute to start, we can get a little bit into or more. So who we've got on the screen with Angormus in the top left, over now on the Mercenary, something that he did play for the first qualifier. Adjusted pretty quickly, but this is a player who really thrives with practice. So will this extra week make a big difference for him? We're gonna have to wait and see. Exile, our almost rank 1 player, ended up being 4th. He's in a little bit of a tough situation. He has some other things that he has to deal with, World of Warcraft. And so he was able to practice, but he didn't. He tried out Huntress, but he didn't quite have enough time to practice it. He thinks that it's better if you don't die, but that bit about if is doing a lot of heavy lifting for him.
Indeed.
And so he's sticking with Mercenary. Luxian in the bottom left, sorry, another Chinese player who has had some incredible showings in past PoE 2 events, and Li Donglin, another Chinese player that we've had do really nice runs in the first and I believe second season of racing, and not really as much in the third one. So it's cool to see that he really is here showing up. He did play in the first qualifier, and I believe he ended up being 9th. And as we kick the race off, our players are already sprinting over 2 Miller, and we're already going to be seeing some differences in positioning, in gem usage, and some skips that you can already introduce into your gameplay to try and get into town as quickly as possible, where players are going to be going through the vendors, trying to get movement speed boosts, trying to get some drops that will benefit them this early on, maybe some gloves, some weapons.
Yeah, you'll notice that the ranged characters pull the Miller far away from the town entrance, so that means that they can kill them over here and then quickly kind of phase through the gate. Oh, Angormus just eating a gigantic flame there. Watch out, we do not need a Miller death this race. It was huge, right? So much damage. He just barely survived that one, but and confidently kills the Miller right before that final slam. There was 2 pairs of boots there. No move speed. Move speed! Very nice for Angormus. Nice. Picking up move speed on the, the double 50-50 chance right there. Both those boots either had or didn't, and one of them did. So very nice stuff for Angormus. And gets the white talisman as well, enabling wolf form. So wolf form plus 10% movement speed is going to make a very fast early game for Angormus. Good to see a nice strong start for Angormus. They had a bit of a rough race last time. He was he actually practiced Huntress, he was telling me, and he was the one that was really convincing me that, like, there's actually just not that much difference between them in terms and potential, and he was not sure that necessarily Huntress is better after practicing them. So very interesting to learn some of the dynamics from Angormus and also from other racers who actually have swapped to Huntress as to why they think that's worth doing when they've so clearly practiced another class. Obviously, Angormus being the warrior champion in the past and just swapping to mercenary, swapping again to Huntress.
Exactly,
that's a lot of extra practice, right?
Yeah, but being the warrior champion, I do believe that he has a proclivity for stability, right? He really enjoys the stable, deathless gameplay that he showcased in the last week's qualifier. But a pretty good start also for Exile. He does get a talisman, no movement speed boots, but And that is a pretty big ask. And some rundown of the rules for some of you guys. The layouts are the same for our players. The shrines are the same. It is a fixed seed race. 2.5 minutes. If you die, that you have to stand around. You're not really able to do a whole lot there. So definitely something that our players are constantly trying to min-max. Face tanking and maximizing your damage output versus your HP bar. I do know that Exile was struggling with that a lot on the Huntress, even in the first act, as you do need certain gear breakpoints to be able to utilize your parry that will allow you to not get immediately stunned whenever you are parrying. That will enable your Fangs of Frost ability very soon. That drops some chilled ground, allows you to make those bosses slightly easier. Exile already up to the witch, doesn't pull her into her little hut, it does pick up the flasks. Now we'll do some kiting. Very
Lead on
pesky
win.
boss.
Getting having a bit of trouble here, getting frozen on the boss, but manages to keep it together, keep calm, keep those twisters coming out. The Huntress early game is a far cry from
It's
what we see in
tricky.
their later game, right? It is the much trickier of the two. Between like Mercenary is already technical enough in that early game. Huntress is even more technical than that, and even you're at the mercy of kind of whatever the twisters feel like doing in the day too. But landing those twisters and
Right.
getting them to bounce back and hit bosses and stuff is very, very tricky in that early game. And they don't quite have the power to make up for it like they can have later on.
Yeah, they get a lot of tools to allow themselves to get pre-buffed, to combo their abilities, and it just makes for a very clean run after Act 1. But yeah, Act 1 tends to be a struggle. But for the Mercenary as well, Huntress has been really pushing these crazy times. So the Mercenary, in their need to keep up, oh my goodness, there are so many mobs on Exile's screen. Not only does he pop the pillar, but also he's got that league mechanic, which is very important for our players. It's a
Doing
lot
both
of
at once,
XP,
confident.
guaranteed drops. Yeah, that's hard to do. The delay from the grenades does leave you quite vulnerable in a lot of your gameplay, but with the layouts being the same, it's something that all of our players will potentially choose to do. Angormis goes for exactly that. You can see Lee Donglin in the bottom right. He pulls the boss into that little hut, and it allows his twisters to hit the boss multiple times.
I see him going a little low and hitting a bit of a dead end there. So using that checkpoint to both fill back up and to take a different route there so that they can get a nice clean run through the zone. So not too bad a reset for them. If it was going to happen anytime, that was pretty much optimal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was interesting to see them pulling Ariadne into the witch's hut like that, whereas the players nearly always, do the opposite, pull her far away from there and make sure they got some nice clean space to kill that rather dangerous mini boss, that rare monster there.
Damn,
Speaking
Exile
of
already
bosses,
spawning
yeah,
his
that was
Rust King, a
fast.
really clean run. You can see the layout read was practically flawless. This is a very important zone to click those weapon racks in, as it does give you the next tier of weapon. It's especially important for the Huntress, as it gives you a better attack speed spear. But anything that a mercenary can take, they will benefit from greatly, that being gloves or weapons. Weapons are a big point of frustration for the mercenary, as there are certain breakpoints where you just have to have a weapon. That's not really something that the hunter struggles with as much. As long as you have a fast weapon for your willing slash and a non-white, but honestly, even if your weapon is white for the twister, you're going to be doing so much damage. It should be fine for the most part.
I don't know. I think the
Mercenary,
competition's
they
heating
can't
up
afford
now.
it.
And the weapon requirements, I think, for the Huntress are going to be seeing coming up from what I've seen from practice. People are getting a bit more specific about what they need out of those Huntress weapons. That'll be some interesting stuff to see how that plays out later. As there's more people
It
competing
definitely
on Huntress,
helps.
and that competition's getting tighter as well now.
Gloves for
Yeah, a
Angormis, nice vendor action happening there for him.
little bit of damage on there. Good stuff. And almost had a pretty nice start on the gear here. Yet I'm exiled just a little bit faster through the zones, just off of kind of pure skill through those early zones there. But
Yeah,
there's not much in it, as you can see. And Gomez comes into that zone only a couple seconds behind I'm Exile there. When I'm Exile's ready to go into the Grim Tangle ahead of that. And once again, there's a beautiful skip here where you can just dodge roll towards the checkpoint when she starts singing and then phase your way through the routes without having to wait. All the racers at this point should know that one. And that's definitely one you can use in your campaign playthroughs. I know I do. It was Who Wants to Wait Around,
Yeah,
even though the singing is lovely.
it's beautiful. 100%. I'm sure the devs appreciate that, Ziggy. Yeah, you
Mm.
guys just click this and you can skip all of the hard work that the developers put into the game. No problem.
I saw some theory crafting about another potential boss skip in this race, so I'm
Hell yeah. I love it.
boss skips are whoa, okay, let's see what's going on with that. We'll wait and see if any of that comes to
Skip.
fruition or if it's just theory at this point.
Speaking of boss skips, Exile actually goes for the skip on the boss in the Grim Tangle, so not something that he's going to be doing. There will be different events that our players are going to be coming across, and depending on what the league mechanic rewards them with, what kind of random drops they're going to be getting, they might be doing some events and skipping other ones. So it is a little bit difficult to keep track of who actually is in the lead right now for Act 1. Act 2 also splitting up in a lot of different directions. Exile managing to find the next step in the lead mechanic is going to be a necessary factor. And also in the bottom right, you can see that the layout enables Lee Dong-lin to actually have a little bit more damage coming out from the twisters. That's something that I mentioned last week. You can see that one twister
Good bounce.
especially just bouncing back and forth. From every cast, a twister can only hit once. So even if he has 4, each one of those, they cannot shotgun, but every 0.66 of a second, that twister, as long as it's on the enemy, it can continuously hit it. So a big damage upgrade. The damage doesn't look great, but you'll take any increase in damage that you can get. And yeah, positioning is crucial on the Huntress. And opposed to that, you can see Angormus in the top left. He actually does go for
Yeah,
the Rotten Druid boss kill. So
difference in
again,
strategy there.
this will just, yeah, it will just depend on what kind of drops you're getting. As I've mentioned previously, Luxian trying to keep up, now entering his zone, and we're going to have to wait and see whether or not he opts to go or manages to allow himself to skip that little event. Now we've got the cemetery for Exile. He is found the Tomb of the Consort. Will he be going for the potential ring grab in this zone? Some players skipping the ring grab altogether, as it is a
Crazy.
true 50-50.
So whether you get the mana or the iron ring, which actually gives yourself some damage, both huntresses and mercenaries would indeed prefer that iron ring. The mana ring rarely becomes a
Yeah,
big factor, although it can be crafted potentially if you can get yourself a little bit of a surplus of crafting currencies, but that is rarely the case.
true. Currency is incredibly important, especially on a mercenary, as you will need a lot of bases. Oh, there we go. Ring, and it's a Lazuli. You can
Uh,
see Exile
Angomas got
mumbling
an
something
iron.
to himself. He's not happy.
Angomas, meanwhile, got an
Angor's got
iron ring. The RNG
nice.
working in Angomas's favor in this race. I did see that Exile did actually get some movement speed boots a little bit later from the vendor Regex, using that custom tailored search to look for boots that have movement speed and managing to dig some out of there for a little bit of gold. So that is a good stuff for Exile there. But yes, Sangomas having the better end of the deal here as far as gearing is concerned in this very early game. And it's actually phenomenal to see just how much difference between the mercenaries and huntresses we have in the early game this time. I don't believe it was this much of a gap between them last week. So the refined racing skills and the early game for the mercenary proving supreme here, as we've got like a more than a zone difference between Angormus and I'm Exile and Luxian and Lee Lee at the moment.
It's big, but you do have to keep in mind that in the long run, the huntresses need less XP. You really have to get
Yeah.
all the lead that you can in Act 1 and Act 2. And in Act 2, a large portion of that lead is reliant on RNG. League mechanic happening now for Exile. Nice little corner there for our players. So once again, everybody will have the league mechanic in the same spot, and I believe Twister will deal with this particular location a lot better
Yeah, that'll be good for them.
than what our mercenary is capable of. Nonetheless, Exile gets through, gets an Artificer's Orb, Mausoleum of the Predator, or sorry, Prector? Prector?
What?
Ziggy, help me out. What is this? Mausoleum of the
The
Precator.
Praetor. Praetor.
Praetor? That's how you say that?
Yes,
The
yes,
English
Praetor.
language doesn't make any sense. The Predator.
I was like, what are you even trying to say? You lost me for a moment there. As you
Come on,
have
I
said
said
in the past,
mausoleum.
so found English once again.
Listen, I know the mausoleum from Heroes of Might and Magic, okay? Spectator, I don't know that one. I don't know who that guy is. Sinya began for Exile.
Anglos was forced to have a bit of a
Ahead of
reset there.
Enormous.
Yeah, so Exile getting into Asenia, the Praetor's consort. The Predator's consort, Asenia. So far, so good. You'll notice them shifting in and out of bear form there to keep rage stacks up for that big bonus attack damage, utilizing a mixture of grenades and the crossbow default attacks there for a little bit of extra damage. We didn't mention it this time, but there has been discovered an interesting mechanic where you can unequip and re-equip your crossbow to reload your default attack. That's mostly for the miller, but something you could weave in for a little bit of extra killing speed there. But it's usually something if they're running out of mana.
Because weaving in your gear in and out is a major element in Act 3 and Act 4 for our players. And we've seen some players dying due to it, and some players getting saved because of it as well. So getting that early practice might make quite a difference as Angormis begins his boss fight with our Huntress players. Not quite there, but getting close.
Yeah, the players all make full use of the weapon swapping mechanic throughout their builds, regardless of the class. But even more so than that, you'll have players switching in extra weapon sets and changing them based on certain mechanics that they're trying to take advantage of. So, for example, the mercenary is typically running a crossbow set, obviously, for their grenades and their damage dealing, and a talisman for right now, switching in and out of bear form, using things like pounce, running around in wolf form, which actually, if you're wanting to like change form and unequip, re-equip, you actually have to be like changing the little widget on the talisman as well.
Ziggy, I'm watching Lead on Glen, and I talked about how the Twister is going to be really good in this room for the league mechanic, but that rare mob that he's having to battle is just putting up such a huge fight for him. That took forever to get through. He does manage to get a spear with some modifiers on it. Who's going to know? It's Chinese. I don't know.
I think if I spectate with my Snooper client in game, it should actually be written in English, so I can totally have a look at how Huntress is going on later on. But on this, on their stream view, it can be a little bit tricky. We're swapping in someone I am unfamiliar with, Gyug, the Huntress, who is currently on.
You struggle now. Yeah, what's his name? Spectator? Huh? Come on, get him.
the guy is currently battling the Predator, Draven, and got them in the optimal spot there for the Twisters to get the bounce back. Like Rise was saying, there's that 0.6 timer, which actually means you don't want them directly against the wall. In some cases, grenaders would pull bosses against wall to try and cluster their grenades up better and get them all to hit once they have extra projectiles. But for the Huntresses, you actually need them to be a little bit off of those walls so that there's enough time for the Twister to bounce, reset its internal cooldown, and then hit the target for that extra damage. And you'll notice the difference, because it can be double damage or not.
This skip already happened. For Exile. Look where Gyug is fighting his Lachlan. Wow. This is not something that we saw last week. I didn't even know that you can pull this boss into here. Huh. What did I just witness? He died instantly.
That was very fast there.
We were talking about the Huntresses are behind, but I don't know. With these sort of boss times, it might not last a long time whatsoever. What a crazy kill.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing the Huntresses catching up a little bit right now, but certainly the lead has been pretty dominant so far at this point. Ooh, it looks like 23. Our mystery racer might be rotating in as well to give us a little bit of a look at, as the Huntress pack is very tightly competitive
Ziggy.
And shuffling around.
I can spoil it, I think. I'm getting, listen, I have my little spies, the little whispers, they have come in. I think I know who Gyug is.
Oh, interesting.
The guy that dies. Apparently he uses the same split, the same life split variant.
Oh,
so
okay,
interesting. Okay, thank you, my little whispers. That's very
how confident
informative.
of this are you? Because I do have guy that dies intel. but I don't know if I can
Listen,
confirm that or not because I don't know what they're.
Oh, wait a minute.
I do know
Hold
that they're
on.
racing on an alternate account and using an alternate Twitch channel. Guy that dies is trying to pull out all the stops to
Yes.
keep secret and keep secrets safe. But they might have been discovered and uncovered here. But yes,
Yeah, secret
Guy
for
that dies raced
17
on a
minutes.
mercenary last week, and if that is indeed them, they did actually swap to Huntress this week, and we're practicing Huntress, and I got to have a little bit of a look at their Huntress practice run, which was looking very good. And he practiced all day, every day with the Huntress swap, and said that he was already beating his merc times, his mercenary times. And he watched Giluo, the best of the best, and studied from there, and also invented some extra stuff of their own, and had a fastest time of 1:57 on Huntress. So that's obviously a crazy time. That's nearly 10 minutes faster than the current world record pace. But practice times are different than real times. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, our players do need to stream to be able to qualify for Exilecon. You don't need to stream to participate, but if you want to qualify, you have to be streaming. So something to keep in mind and why some players are using different accounts than they normally would. Just keeping it a little bit secretive for themselves. But yeah, I believe we do have Guy That Dies in the bottom left, and I think we can officially switch over to that name.
There is a similarity there with Guy, but I would also feel very bad if it wasn't. It was just someone else that we haven't seen before.
We did officially switch. Okay, well, the production's full sending it. Okay.
Production knows. Okay, all right. Excellent stuff.
You are him now. He doesn't have a choice.
They are officially got it.
Oh, Exile. Is that the reload crossbow? I think it is.
The Rampart Raptor. Not exactly a huge one for grenades, I don't believe. I might have to start jumping in again and taking a look at our players here and seeing how they're doing. I'm Exile. I do not.
Interesting development as well. We've got 23 now. Somebody who was a little bit of a mystery racer in our previous event. Still kind of a mystery racer. We tried to get in contact with them. It was partially successful. But then also Woodish, another player who we've mentioned very frequently in last week, a last epoch Uber kill champion who started practicing Path of Exile 2, has shown some really incredible results in the first qualifier, and now apparently he was the first person to kill Lachlan, and also that is on a mercenary, so very cool to see as Angormes goes bye-bye the competition. It's just too steep, Ziggy.
I do hope we get to see Angormes again. They didn't have a super good week 1 race. And, after just winning so many seasons, being so dominant for so long, I feel like Angormes has really potentially earned that spot. But, the real earning it has to be done in these actual qualifiers, ultimately. And
everything else was practice.
I've got a soft spot for him there. Absolutely. But yes, Woodish came out of nowhere. Doing their first ever event in Path of Exile after, like you said, being a bit of a professional last epoch racer, and really, really blew us away and ended up finishing 2:12. So not quite as strong as some of the others, but had a really, really good early race. And indeed, they're up there with I'm Exile right now. Yeah,
I remember he had some rips towards the end. Torvian, there was a recent change where our players actually needed to practice Torvian, and maybe not enough people had enough time to do so. And yeah, Woodish was one of the sacrifices there for the greater good, for the improvement of PoE. But I'm sure that this week around, he's incredibly practiced. And I mean, one thing that he's practiced for sure is Act 1. Mamma mia, this guy's blasting. We're talking about how good Exile is, but Woodish is noticeably ahead, already having picked up the loot, now doing his crafting quest. That guaranteed Artificer's Orb will be incredibly valuable once he does get his level 16 crossbow. And that's another interesting aspect of the mercenary, as they continue to adapt to the speed the Huntress brings to the table. And a part of that is getting some fewer levels. They won't be getting level 33 as we're used to anymore. And for Act 1, they won't be going to level 14 for that gas grenade. So a slightly slower Geonor kill in terms of speed, but a significantly faster Act 1. And you guys are getting introduced now to some new tools that we have access to.
look at this. We have ourselves a new ladder system that shows the actual time splits. So that because we've always had the problem, level doesn't mean who's in first. When you look at the levels on the ladder, that does not mean who's first. But we can actually look at the times that racers are hitting certain boss kills and certain other events, and now you can get an actual standings of the race that will be updating live as we check in with players in full screen. So hands to production for making this work in last week. And guy that dies, question mark, getting an amazing executioner kill there very confidently on the Huntress. If this is indeed a guy that dies, this is after swapping from Mercenary last week and just having a week of practice. But whereas the other Huntresses maybe had several weeks, a month of practice on that class. Pretty wild.
But yeah, if you paid attention to our ladder tool, you could see that it updated in real time, and a part of that was Angormis being only 5 seconds behind on the Executor kill, so super cool.
Ooh, okay,
really
interesting.
Sticking in there for Act 1.
Might need to get Angormis back on over I'm Exile maybe then, if they're in the... We'll see, production will...
That's crazy.
Keep swapping people around, but yes, it looks like
I'm Exile struggling, and this is such an important race for him because, yeah, he might not be able to participate for the second and the third one. I'm Exile somebody who is borderline guaranteed to qualify for Path of Exile 1, as we will be running those qualifiers as well. But for PoE 2, he's one of the players that switched over, put in the effort. Having him not qualify for both games would be kind of unprecedented. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to have anyone. If anyone was going to qualify for both Path of Exile 1 and 2, I'm Exile would be like a top contender for that, right? So that would be amazing to see. So wishing them the best, but we will see. I'm going to have to pick up the pace a little bit there, though, as Angormis has just taken over. And we were worried about Angormis dropping off. Look at him, he's on fine form once again.
Yep, for sure. I mean, there is a RNG factor, once again, to the Mercenary when it comes to the leveling and being able to maximize that RNG, and really, even if you're not having the best run, being very familiar with that state of the game and how you have to adjust your play based off of it is just so crucial.
I'm just checking Angormis here. Someone, oh no, he didn't.
No.
I was remember I was saying Angormis is having like a very nice RNG early game run here.
Okay.
This race is his to lose now. He got a sure-footed sigil. If you're going to get any unique in the early game for racing, sure-footed sigil is the unique to get. It is an amulet that gives you +1 meter to dodge roll distance, and that is just insanely powerful here for the racing. It makes those dodge rolls
everything
safer, longer, faster, stronger.
And especially on a Mercenary, because the way that you're handling your weapons, you're constantly in the wolf form and jumping around. It is faster than sprint as a baseline. It's safer than sprint too. And now with that extra distance that you're gaining, that's everything. This is truly Angormis's race to lose.
Yeah, that is such a huge deal for him, and might have been contributing to his kind of catching back up there so quickly. But certainly, that's a lot of pressure though, isn't it? Because if you...
Our ruthless production is immediately pointing out the Tabulast incident. And yes, I was going to
say it. We've done it enough. We've said it enough times in our casts. But yes,
I was in the middle of kind of explaining how you do need to be used to this. You have to know how to handle this level of RNG, both good and bad.
You don't practice for it, right? Yeah, you can't really practice for that.
But if there is one person who did practice for it, it's Angormis, right? This guy put in more work than anybody else.
Yeah, he is, like, before anyone even uttered the words Path of Exile 2 racing, Angormis was practicing for it. That's why he was so dominant in Season 1, because, like, everyone else is just like, oh, yeah, I'll try this playing Path of Exile fast thing. What do I just do? Kill monsters fast? Okay, sure. Meanwhile, like, Angormis is, like, had refined everything at that point already. So he was in there earliest before anyone else. So certainly, if anyone has practiced it, it is him. But I know that a few players have had their fastest personal bests off of the back of sure-footed sigils when everything kind of goes right. And you're just like, well, that's never going to happen in a live race. But here we go. We get a chance to witness it. And yeah, it's a lot of pressure, because if you do lose with that sure-footed sigil, oh man, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna haunt you. That's gonna tab your last
And
taunt you forever.
it's so easy to lose as well. I mean, you're just so likely to die on any class in any scenario. You can see some of our huntresses taking the extra time to kill Candlemass for the HP
Oh,
boost, but
super good
my
Geonor.
goodness, so much damage coming out from Angormis. This Geonor is clean, already transitioning to
That
the
was
second phase.
amazing.
Queuing up an extra attack, so that's going to take some time, a few seconds. Oh my, he is really going crazy over here. My guy.
Look at that
It's
dodge
time to
roll.
go dog form.
Dodge roll across the entire arena. To some extent, even like you won't have practiced for that kind of like extra movement, right? And if you've got some things
There we
down
go.
to muscle memory at this point, it's going to change things too. So, you know, but
Yep.
it's nearly all upside this one. It's just such a huge drop. But yeah, that was a crazy first form. Let's see how second form goes. Is he going to be trying to keep in the middle? He looks like he is, so he might be able to have a more guaranteed skip on the poetry
Nice
phase.
stun.
Very nice stun timing there off the wing blast. Followed up with some excellent grenades and just a huge grenade crit there.
Oh,
Lots of
but
damage. But gets hit one of the beams, but does
Okay.
manage to get back into position and finish him off. And Gomez, we got a
So
last
much
one there
damage.
is the first to clear Act 1. Certainly.
he has a
Certainly.
double socket crossbow already.
It's
Okay,
everything is going right for Gomez this race.
I was wondering how the hell is he doing so much damage? I mean, this is the sort of weapon that you would. I mean, we don't know the rolls. Maybe we can take a quick peek at it. You guys
Oh
can
yeah,
see that
I can tell you all about that, my
our...
friend. Holy, this crossbow! This is an insane sturdy crossbow.
It's gotta be crazy.
I'm getting nervous with how good Gomez's gear, like RNG, is in this race because like I feel like something's gonna go wrong. The hammer's about to drop, right? Like what? How is it gonna equalize? You know, something always comes to balance it out. But
the lucky players never win. But is Gomez going to defy the odds here?
Maybe. He's got that double socket. He's got the runes in there. It has 58 increased physical, 6 to 14 cold, 2 to 26 lightning damage. Very, very high damage. Sturdy crossbow there. Keep him covered until he hopefully gets a better one in the later game.
Look at the hyena boss skip now. He's going to be jumping up that little ledge there with pounds. A very cool skip that you can incorporate in your gameplay. Is he going for it? He is. Okay, not quite from the bottom. Could have saved himself a little bit more time, but still quite clean. Good positioning. Those extra hyena ads trickling in. The stun is giant. The output is massive. And Gormus, he's just obliterating Wrathbreaker.
Yeah, he's playing it perfectly too as well. Like anyone can be lucky, but Angormus is lucky and good. And that's a tough combination to beat. So this is a big race for Angormus here, and
that's what true skill is, right? When luck meets preparation, that is the true staple of skill in ARPGs.
No one more prepared than Angormus. Has been practicing for his entire life since before Path of Exile 2 was even made. He has been training for this moment.
Yeah, okay. We're really sending it. All right. Let's go.
Is he immune to the caster curse in this race? That's what we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of want to relax in a way because I would love to see Angormus qualify, you know? But
me too,
yeah, we're really caster cursing the heck out of him. Maybe he's grown immune by now.
100%.
Having participated in all of our events.
RNG.
Yeah.
I think he just transmuted damage on that ring as well. Yeah. Wanted too cold, but you know, the transmute landed.
Still, I mean, every little bit helps, you know, the extra cold damage. I mean, the thing is, with this crossbow, he's just one-shotting everything, so it's like, the extra chill doesn't really make a difference in his gameplay. It's just looking incredible. I don't even know if you craft a level 16 weapon.
Yeah, normally the players would be going for like an alloy crossbow and trying to get something potentially good enough to finish the race on. You know, that's not necessarily the ideal outcome, but it can be good enough. If you can get to that 1500-ish explosive grenade damage range off the back of an alloy crossbow, that can happen. But the problem Angormus has now is that his crossbow is like going to be better than most alloys you're going to find. So he's maybe going to have to be trying to get another crossbow later on instead. Well, it's going to be a little unusual bit of gearing pace for him.
Maybe we can highlight some gameplay for 23 on the Huntress as he's approaching their Wrathbreaker now. And in the meanwhile, we can look at the ladder as well. Yeah. Just to get an update as to what is happening exactly. Malden Quarry for Angormus. And My guy that dies, question mark. 92 seconds behind? Again, we have some gaps in where we can trigger these flags for players, but you can see the Wrathbreaker kill has happened for guy that dies, but 92 seconds is a huge difference at this stage of the race. It's massive.
Yeah,
I
and with the
honestly
next
can't
mercenary
believe.
being Keon there, even further behind. And Gomez is going
Yeah,
fast.
it's good to see Keom
Yes,
though, I gotta say. We've got Keom, we've got 23, we've got Driz, the Wrathbreaker
that's
coming
cool to
up
see. Yeah.
there.
But this ladder is different
Sure.
every time we look at it too, as we've had players shuffling in and out of that. So there's more contenders even than the top 6 on the screen there. And
Mhm.
that is some good
Yeah,
stuff to
absolutely.
see. We'll start to see the
How
Huntresses
well can
picking up as they
Huntress do
move through
here?
Act 2 here, because Act 2 starts to get really, really nutty. Well, the biggest difference between Huntress and Mercenary is that the Huntress only has to get to level 27, and then they finish the race like that. Whereas the Mercenary is typically trying to get to level 28, then leave the zone, and then level to 31 throughout the rest of the run, getting there before the part of the way through Act 3, halfway through Act 3. So that extra
Mhm.
leveling time is a big advantage for Huntress, and they often don't even have to farm Dreadnought at all, and they can just continue progressing onwards. There's a nice
Not a
twister
bad
action
kill.
there, using the Apex cleanly for a little bit of extra damage.
And this is
Nice
most
kill.
definitely the weakest that we're going to be seeing Twister as at this stage of the game.
Oh,
They're
it
going to
gets so
have
strong.
access to ice tipped arrows, and that's really the game changer for the Huntress. So that was the slowest boss kill that we're going to be seeing, and it's going to be ramping like crazy now, depending on the sort of weapon that they're going to be having once again. But even without a weapon, it is incredibly effective. Kiom, you can see in the top right now, progressing through his mountain quarry as Angormis. He's already approaching another boss. This is going to be quick. He's preparing the gas grenades. The explosion is going to be coming out very soon.
Well
Making
timed.
sure
Wing
to
Blast
get as
missed.
much pre-buffing as possible.
Yeah, missed one
Nice
Wing Blast
stun
there, but
there.
managed to get it on the follow up. And should hopefully be able to kill her before she starts going into
Oh,
melee. It's going to be slightly. No, he's all right. She's going into flamethrower and can
that's good.
finish her off cleanly there. Very nice.
Great fight for him. Talks
Yeah,
to the
pretty smooth.
NPC before the loot drops, waiting for that. A little bit of a delay on the loot, but manages to get some good items. That Dia crossbow is a very important potential base at this stage of the game. He finds a nice
God.
double resistance shield with some strength. That's something that will help potentially progressing through some of the latter parts of the game when their players will be skipping. Ziggy mentioned that. Yeah, the players will be finishing the race very underleveled compared to what you typically would be in Act 3 and Act 4. And a big part of that is, yeah, preparing yourself right now for all of the running that you're going to be doing, especially in Act 4.
Well, he might be okay for the follow-up crossbow because he just crafted
Yeah,
and Gormus just crafted a varnished crossbow with 9 to 22 fizz, 3 to 31 lightning, and +2 to level of projectile skills. That one being a
my
huge hidden
goodness.
damage buff, and it swaps out as soon as he hits level 16 off of that crazy sturdy crossbow. So he's good. He's on track now. No gaps in the
Yep.
RNG just yet. That
He
crafting went
just needs an
very
alloy
nicely.
now. If
Yeah,
he can get the
as well.
alloy, honestly, he's just so prepped. But that's level 26. That's something to worry about in, well, not that long from now. Honestly, we're 36 minutes in, and some of you guys might be wondering what kind of finishes are we going to be looking at. It takes me 4 days to finish the campaign. Well, for these guys, it's about 2 hours. So hopefully, we're going to be seeing maybe potentially an under 2 hour run from Angormis. It's unprecedented on the mercenary. I haven't even heard of personal bests for the mercenary with runs like that. Many huntresses have accomplished that, but that was also paired up with many rips that wouldn't have taken into account the fact that, yeah, we do have that 2.5 minute penalty whenever our players do die. But so far, no rips. We do have a replay system for you guys that we can showcase some of our players dying if we have potentially missed it. But yeah, nobody's dying. Players are getting so much better. By now, normally we would have had multiple rips, but none of that happening this run. But
You can
yeah,
see the power of the twisters starting to take off on the boss there. Guy that dies getting a
yes.
very fast kill. And that's off the back of the Ice Tipped Arrows now putting down Chilled Ground with, I believe it's Frozen Nexus or Frost Nexus, and taking advantage of that 50% added cold damage, and as well as the wall bounces on that boss. They're just keeping right in the middle of the arena, getting the bounce right as the twisters come back into the center of the arena. Big damage, actually, probably a bit faster than the grenade.
23. Oh, 23 doing a little bit too much face tanking there. Well, I say too much. Dropped super low, like 10% HP, and levels up immediately. Manages to
The clutch
survive.
level.
Yeah, and you
Like,
can
I
see in
love
the
clutch level
gameplay,
save.
it is a little bit rippy right now because especially on the Huntress, sure, on the Mercenary, you have to wait for the grenade delay, but at this point, our players are getting a lot of quality of life nodes, a lot of that delay reduction. And as long as you've got a good weapon, that will allow you to progress nicely. But for the Huntress, you're having to skip past a lot of enemies and kind of buff yourself up and have a big twister that you shoot in the back that clears out all of those mobs. And you're constantly having to manage how much you're clearing versus how much XP you're getting from that league mechanic. As in Gormus in the top left is now doing another sequence for himself. Drops another unique ring. Is that a unique iron ring? Yup, he's gonna equip it immediately. Is that the HP one? Wait.
It's Blackheart, which says intimidate enemies on hit.
Oh my, which is 10% more damage for Angormus.
Yep.
He's laughing. He knows exactly what's happening here.
That is wild. Yeah, it has the added
But
chaos
that's a
damage
good sign.
and the
Right? Him
intimidate.
laughing about it, that means that he's comfortable. I like that from Angormus. He's not 100% focused, no full panic, this is crazy. Nah, he's comfortable. He likes what he's seeing. I mean, anybody would like what he's seeing, but is it going to bring the result that he's going to like as well? Great run from Angormus, and it would be crazy. I mean, granted, Angormus is the sort of player that doesn't need RNG to qualify for Exilecon. Let's just make that clear. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't help, right?
I mean, if you're gonna have it,
why not?
This is a filthy run for Angormus right now.
It's disgusting.
But I do think though he needs to shore up those defenses a bit. You can see that he's at that 350 life.
Yes.
Compared to Woodish, currently at 412. And there is a danger that you get a little bit of overconfident and neglect those defenses. He's basically got no gear on as far as defenses are concerned. His gloves have just 1 to 4 lightning. He does not wearing a belt. He has like no life on anything except the chest armor. Helmet has like 3.2 life regeneration, and that's it. That rest of the gear is looking very, very sad. So, a death 2.5 minutes will offset some of that gained advantage from Shawford Sigil and Blackheart and things like that. But yes, obviously huge drop stage. And if he can, I'm confident that he will be the sort of player who'll be like, okay, how do I shore up the weaknesses that I've got now to really fully take advantage of this and make sure I don't throw this advantage away.
Was that a crazy tier physical gloves with attack speed that I see in his inventory that he can't equip just yet because he's not quite high enough level? Like that
physical and life, no attack speed though. It was rarity rather than attack speed.
How much life are we talking though?
Just 18, but those are not a bad pair of gloves. There. It is in base though, so he does go ahead and vendor him. Going to be too hard. 22 ints is just not worth it for the Mercenary, and that's another one of the big differences between Mercenary and the Huntress. The Mercenary is a much easier time on attributes. They just need strength and dex, and they're able to get it very easily. The Huntress needs 24 int, 48 dex, and like 45 or so strength. So they need like kind of all of those attributes, because keep in mind, Huntress is using things like spirit skills and stuff like that as part of their strategy. So that means they have a bit more of a diverse kind of like sort of set of stuff that they have to equip.
But look, Ziggy,
that's a struggle.
We're showcasing the ladder, and the gap isn't getting bigger. Technically, Angormus should be going noticeably faster than Guy That Dies. And sure, there's still 105-second gap, but that's not nearly as much as we anticipated.
Within reason at this point.
Yeah, it's reasonable,
you can see that in a normal race still. So Guy That Dies simultaneously having a really good race, and maybe just keeping a pace with Angormus somewhat.
And it was a huge upset last week. Guy That Dies clearly tilted last week. Things didn't go according to plan, and he's really showing up, channeling the anger potentially of how his last week's run went.
The craziest thing.
I can't.
Well, go ahead.
I'm not sure if he ended up playing Mercenary or if he played Huntress and swapped over.
He did play. Guy That Dies played Mercenary last week, and then swapped to Huntress like the next day and practiced every day this last week on Huntress. And that just makes it all the more impressive that Guy That Dies is currently blowing all the other mercenaries out of the water who've been practicing for weeks. So I think Guy That Dies was in strong position last week, and I think they could have still potentially secured a win on Merc, but after practicing Huntress, he felt like Huntress was the way to go ultimately, and was already getting faster times and had a 157 on Huntress. And I believe that would be including deaths. So, yeah.
Because with Huntress being so volatile, I feel like it is potentially the better class to qualify for Exilecon. But if we're on the same patch, will it be the better class to win Exilecon? Do you want to be practicing that now? Is that something that you're worrying about already? It's hard.
Yeah, if when you've got 4 qualifiers, going aggressive and volatile in them, and just trying to have like one of those like really high rolls, like my times are anywhere from 155 to 215, and it's like, well, if I get a 155, I'm going to Exilecon. That's worth the gamble. So players will do that, and that is indeed Huntress. So
there's 4 qualifiers, but there's only 1 Exilecon, so you can't afford
when it comes to the day,
that level of RNG.
But then at Exilecon, do you throw it all on a dice roll for the high volatility approach to Exilecon too? Or do you be a player who's like Angormus and so consistent typically and go for a consistent one?
Depends if Tie 23 is there. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Indeed.
That guy brings the strats as Woodish stays at the gateway or at the entrance to the fight there. You can see that will make it so that Jamanra immediately dashes at him, and it will also allow his grenades not to spread, and a super clean kill from Woodish, who is taking in the lead so far. We've been taking some looks at the ladder. Now Woodish having to drop the Frost Bomb. There are... The levels are just not worth it anymore. He can't keep putting points into int, and so Frostbomb no longer affects enemies. He's gonna have to get rid of that. Was that a... Ziggy, can you take a look at Woodish's character and his amulet?
Oh, okay. Let me see. Woodish.
I'm
Spectate. Here we go. Let's have a look. What are we looking for here, Raz? What am I seeing? I see an amulet, Stone of Lazar, which is cast speed. Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to help him.
No, that's
mana, cast speed, and block while holding a focus.
I didn't quite catch it. I just saw something different, and I'm like,
no, it's not going to help the mercenary that much, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Not what he was looking for. Meanwhile, Angus and on Ekbab and Iktab, and takes a big hit of damage there.
This is rough.
348 health. Yeah, this is a little bit sketchy. They're not on top. Ooh, he needs to get that. Get out of there. Okay.
Doing a good comparably,
job. Yeah, that took a little while.
I was looking at Guy That Dies doing this, and although it was in a tiny window, I wouldn't blame you for missing it, because it was instant. Those bosses just disappeared. So already those big differences showing up.
In that last zone, Guy That Dies caught up and then beat the boss before Angormus. So that 100-second split there, gone, erased right now. 24-second split now in favor of Guy That Dies as he takes the lead off of Angormus. Absolutely wild. Angormus there sitting pretty
crazy
on the shelf with a sigil and a black heart.
Meanwhile, the thing is, though, you have to take a look at the XP. XP management is a major factor, especially in Act 2. And you can see that Angormus, when he was doing his Orbalas first step, he was level 19 already, with Guy That Dies being only level 18. Yes, in the long run, the Huntress needs less XP, but in Act 2, they should be somewhat similar. Guy That Dies on the Huntress, now fighting Kabbalah, making sure that his HP stays topped off with that speedy flask usage. Nice, manages to skip the invulnerability phase, kills the boss, gets the +2 on those skill points. Very crucial element to the strategy of our players. Potentially now looking for that guaranteed amulet that you can get out of the zone from one of those side doors that you can find. A plated buckler, another item that he's going to be picking up. What such gameplay coming out from Guy That Dies, just incredible.
Guy That Dies, interestingly, using... Oh wait, no, that's Woodish. I'm on the wrong person. I was gonna say, I did not think he had that. Let me spectate. I saw that Woodish is using that helmet that gives you like negative resistances, but a bunch of physical damage reduction.
No
Interesting,
amulet.
interesting item.
Oh no. Okay, no amulet. I don't think Gormus is going to be going for the amulet either. So no time saved there. Lost City has been entered, and immediately a big statue event paired up with the league mechanic. That's going to be a ton of XP for, well, all of our players because it is fixed seed. But that is something that sometimes can happen, right? The players will sometimes decide to skip certain portions of the game, getting less XP, and then potentially in the latter parts of the act, they're going to be all getting either more blue packs or more events, or maybe an abyss that's particularly juicy, yielding a lot of great results. And where you pick your battles, regardless of fixed seed or not, is a major element that all of our players are considering constantly for their speed runs. But on Gormis in the same zone, you can see he's clearing out the same event now. So nice from all of our players. Driz also in the top 3, and the Huntresses, they're not keeping up. I don't know. I mean, everybody else is noticeably behind.
Yeah, which is wild because we saw them kind of dominating the pack. But, there's a bit of time still for that shuffle to happen as we move through to the end of Act 2, and the mercenaries have to slow down a bit to get that XP.
Ziggy, there's time to shuffle things all the way until the end because we still have Tavakai coming up, Benedictus.
Certainly the
those
case.
Guys tend to shuffle the ladder quite a lot.
They shuffle the pack all right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But guy that dies right now, currently showing the Huntresses how to do it after only a week of practice. If that is indeed them, guy that dies, question mark once again. But doing absolutely very well there. And that is, I was just looking at guy that dies gear, and it's not that good. Nothing special.
Yeah.
They've got a decent amount of life. That's about it.
I mean, that's huge.
We've got some decent life
the Hunters,
here.
because you have to use the parry, again, a major element of gameplay, and something very difficult to understand is how much HP you need for certain breakpoints to be able to comfortably parry bosses. Because if you don't know what you're doing on a Huntress, you're just going to get stunned. And not only does that slow you down, it also leaves you quite vulnerable. You can die. But he does have 60 more HP, almost 70 more HP than Gormis, which, again, that should be technically the safer class for a run.
But
it's going to make a big difference.
Not so much.
But look where Gormis is. He's already up to the baby.
Yeah, it's really cool to see this like shuffling back and forth between these two. Just this like crazy battle between Angormus and Gardataz right now.
Yeah. Really nicely done. Azarian trying to put up a fight, already stunned right out the get-go.
Gets one attack down, does land it, but Angormus is there to finish it off.
And it's so deliberate where he fights him too. He doesn't want Azarian to be skipping around because you do have to wait for that loot, so you do a part of the other quest, then go back to pick up the loot, and you can see the quest is going now. He's waiting for that final drop. He's going to get it and immediately check out to be able to go back and look for the... is he looking
resistance
for the ring?
Yeah, a little bit of resistance ring.
Which one is he going to go for?
Lightning resistance, typically what you're needing to get, and that is indeed what he picks up there.
Well, it is RNG at the end of the day, but lightning is super important for Act 3 and Act 4, so
yeah,
it's going to be the most likely the default pickup, as long as you're not having some crazy RNG, which Angormus is having exactly that. The guy that dies finding his Azarian now. The arena being slightly too big. You can see some double bounces from those twisters. But
now he's
now with the boss. Yeah, but look, he's on the opposite side of where the dollar is. So this already will potentially cost him quite a bit of time.
Yeah, this is a slow Azarian fight, even by Huntress standards in here. This
is slow, yeah.
This is not good. Like I was saying, his gear was nothing to write home about. He doesn't have a lot of damage there. And the little pauses there, he was getting a bit worried.
He was thinking about it.
Yeah, he was down to half. He had the flask, but was getting a little bit concerned there. Yeah, a lot of time lost there, and Angormus does once again take that lead, and we have a what's the time there? Wait for the update on the ladder. Perhaps there we go. 77-second shuffle again. How are they shuffling like more than a minute each way every zone? It's like one zone, 1 minute, one zone it swaps. That's like a 2-minute shuffle each time, more than. Crazy.
All it takes is a one bad layout read, and boom,
Yeah,
that's just gonna do it.
I mean, that boss cost him a minute there almost. That was a slow, frustrating affair for him. He does get himself a decent looking war spear there. A bit of damage and some attack speed. It's better than what he had at the moment. Can he equip that just now? Yeah, he's got that on now. A little bit of physical lining and attack speed.
Almost leaves town, but remembers to pick up a new flask. Nicely done by Got That Dice. Flasks are a major element to your defenses and how quickly you use them. And Gorm is going for another Abyss. Interesting. So noticeably more Abyss gameplay. You do need that level 28 for Jamanra, and helps you out tremendously.
Maybe he's farming more uniques. It's also that. I remember.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's good. So what even other uniques could he get? I feel like he got the two
I
best
think this
uniques.
is the guaranteed one, no?
In Abyss League, this had a guaranteed unique. I'm pretty sure it doesn't anymore. But
I think it does. I'm not sure. Okay, wait. We're about to find out anyway. He's doing it.
I definitely did in Abyss League. I don't think it does now, but let's find out.
I could have sworn we saw it last week as well, but not only do I have SSF English, I also have SSF memory.
Let's see. Breath is being held. I mean, get a second black art? It doesn't really help that much in the end because you've got.
Look at that guy moonwalking on him. Where's that mob going? No, okay. Exalted or Bregal.
Yeah, I reckon it's probably got the guaranteed exalt or something for that one, which is big. You want that crafting currency, but Angomas is actually rolling in crafting currency right now because you need it to craft the alloy crossbow, which is he's working on that right now, and plus he exalts +2 projectiles again. Oh my god, what the Angomas, please!
It's disgusting. It's sick, and you can see he's containing this little smile that we always see from Angorames.
Well, smirk. And then this league mechanic here, giving 2 Artificer's Orb is a big deal because Mercenary needs more Artificer's Orbs than Huntress on average, and the extra weapon crafting right now, getting those 2 Artificers lined up is a big deal. That's good stuff for Angomas. Kiom on the Mercenary starting there, Azarian kill, getting them right against the door there as well. Lots of damage. That health bar's not even coming up yet. And Azarian is done. That was even faster than...
Okay, what kind of weapon does Kiom have? That was dirty.
That was wild. Some big damage out of Guillaume right there. Nice. Guillaume on pace to catch up a little bit here.
I mean, that was like 40 seconds saved right there compared to Guy That Dies, ? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, some fire resistance armor belt. Nice. That's going to help quite a lot.
We're going to get
armor does seem like a joke to some of our viewers, I'm sure, but for speedrunning, it's a very major element. It does help.
Yeah, armor's big in the campaign.
It's a ton of survivability. Yeah, it's a really big deal.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why Warrior was like very, very solid and sturdy there, and Mercenary even doing pretty well too. Off the back of being able to get some decent armor going.
Yep, for sure. You've got the Titan Grotto happening for Angormis now. He's doing the League mechanic, which gives you a guaranteed level 2 uncut support gem. He continues to progress through the zone. A steel plate drops on the ground. Man, he's having too much RNG. His stake, it's too juicy. His account, it's too full, Ziggy. He can't even pick up things anymore.
His crossbow too buttery. And his unique's too juicy. Indeed.
Yes, too much. Look. This is not something that we see. I mean, we're kind of joking, but Angorm is not quite handling his inventory management. I mean, it's a bit of a mess in there. It's unusual.
This is like people taking a look in your bedroom and you haven't cleaned it, and you're like, oh, come on, no, we can look right into his inventory right now. And I am here in client on my snooper tool, looking at this inventory, and Angormis, what is this, mate? This is a bit of a mess. Why do you even still have this other crossbow? It has no potential compared to your main one.
He's lost. He's struggling. Look.
Whoa, he's full clearing his zone.
Yeah, he got stuck again. This is potentially something that Guy That Dies can save himself a lot of time with. If we take a look at it, he's somewhat freshly in the zone, but is he immediately having the correct read?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see
continues in the top and left.
If it's a really weird and rare zone, then sometimes you'll see, one player make a misread that bad, and then like everyone else does it too.
But
Because
look,
they've all practiced off the same kind of information. Ultimately, the races share zone
I
layout
think
information, but it dies has maybe not though.
oh
Wait,
no, he's going the
he's
wrong
going the
way
wrong
now,
way.
I think.
He's going the wrong way. I
Yeah,
think
he was having the perfect read.
he was.
Is he gonna go
Hopefully, he
back? He's
adjusts
going
from
back.
that
Look,
there.
he knows. Does he know? No, he's going the other way. Oh,
Oh
it's
no, I
over.
think he's got a full clear as well.
Oh no. Oh
Oh no,
no.
it's the same thing. Oh, he was so close. He was so close too.
He was. Well, the Colossus Fern Gormus now on the big screen. You can see that he is in the lead,
Big
77
damage.
seconds ahead, and
Nice.
this is
A
going to
little
put
careful
an
at the end
even
there.
bigger gap. Okay, guy that
Okay.
does save himself a little bit of time.
Yeah, it wasn't
Not
quite
a
as bad
flawless
as Angormus.
read, but
Yeah. Yeah, almost
noticeably
had a
better
chance.
than
Like a
Angormus.
20 seconds gain there.
Let's see what kind
Let's
of
see how
single
those
target we're going
twisters
to be
go
having
on
here. This
Zalmaras.
boss is a little bit annoying because it's hard to chill it as the chilled ground doesn't go down, but you still get all of it from the attacks. I mean, this
Damn,
damage is
big
looking
damage.
pretty good.
I think that was a little
2
bit faster than
bounces,
Angormus
it's
even.
enough. Yeah, that was clean. And positioning is kind of hard on this boss with grenades because you have to move your cursor just right so the grenades don't fall off that ledge.
You shoot the grenades off the edge of the left into the abyss. That's not what you want. Meanwhile, the twisters going to take care of themselves in there. They pretty much are guaranteed to come back and hit the boss again. You can't miss.
Absolutely. Driz. What kind of read are we looking at with his layout? Interesting gameplay from Driz. He's using the Al-Kaiser strategy where he's only using the top right minimap. He's not actually using the overlay.
I appreciate that, Drews. Thank you. It's
Nice
a superior
read,
viewing
too.
experience. Yeah, clean through there, not making the same mistake.
Wow, really impressive. I'm always super impressed whenever people don't use the big overlay for speedrunning because honestly, to me, it feels impossible. But yeah, I mentioned Al-Kaiser and he
it's
does a
really
great job
restricted
with
view
it.
for it.
And
And
yeah,
still
Driz
getting a
must
clean
be
read there.
he has to be an enjoyer.
And Driz just immersing themselves in their character as much as possible, and it paying off here apparently. Maybe whatever was causing the other players to misread was visible on the large overlay, but not on the minimap. So it actually worked in
Oh
Driz's
no, Ziggy. Look at
Yes.
that. If you take a look at the ladder, you can see one of the names. It's in red. The portrait, it's grayed
New
out.
Society. Oh, it's red and grayed out. Production added a death for it. Death system for it. Does it show if they're currently dead? Does it? Whoa, guys, I did not know you had that tech. That's cool.
Yep. He is fully dead.
All New Society has perished. Does that mean they're actively on their 2.5 minute death timer? Rough.
That is exactly what it means. It unfortunately also means that we do not have a replay, as we do need to be looking at the player to be able to have the replay. And Whole New Society.
Yep.
But it's kind of not unusual for Whole New Society. Not that he dies all that frequently, but he does always kind of stick around outside of the top 4 for the majority of the race and kind of swoops in towards the end and almost takes it over. Last week he was second. I'm sure that this early rip is just a minor setback for him and he will fully recover. As Angormus still going for that progression. You can see the talisman on his cursor, really min-maxing the movement here. Nicely done. Constantly switching in the chess piece for those additional defenses and taking it off whenever he does need the extra mobility. It is something that's much more effective on the Twister, as it's much easier to utilize the doggy form and just dodging constantly, especially if you have an OP amulet, as Angormus does. But all of this adds up and it makes for something that we potentially might see this race, not just an amazing finish from Angormus in a race, but also a PB. I mean, he's checking the ladder, he's looking comfortable, he's making sure he's ahead of XP, and that he is. Rank 1 on the XP ladder, rank 1 in progression, 18 seconds ahead potentially from Guy That Dies, depending on when he's going to be entering his Path of Mourning. We do have these checkpoints that you can see, so that it is showcasing that. Angormus's checkpoint is Path of Mourning, and we won't have an update from Guy That Dies until he leaves the Shard and enters the Path of Mourning as well. which he is getting quite close to. I think he's there now. Yes,
Yeah, we'll go
49
see that update
seconds.
here.
So
Lost a
a
bit of time
larger
there.
gap now for Angormus.
Yeah, he was on pace catching up there quite nicely, knocking that time from like 100-second gap down to 20 seconds, but just losing a little bit of time through there. And Gormus taking full advantage of that extra dodge roll speed and everything, dodge roll distance here. He
Yeah,
progresses
sometimes
with
you
his
guys
zone.
might notice that we are sticking mostly to the stream view for a lot of our players. This is so that we can see all of the inventory management, all of the cursor positioning, the talents, and everything. We do have some limitations on our spectator tool available in game, which is that we cannot see elements of the UI. So sometimes, whenever you do see some of our players and they're not moving or they're doing something weird, maybe it looks like lag, that is just because they are using one of those overlay, those UI elements, and we just can't quite tell. But for Angormus, we can tell everything that's happening, and what's happening is good. The Spire of the Shar getting cleaned out by our top player right now, our top mercenary. Great run by Angormus. Committing to a rare monster kill there. Great positioning. Amazing gas grenades.
And
Oh
his
damn! And
defenses are looking much better now as well, too.
he immediately finds the crucial permanent lightning resistance buff too. Just so good from Angormus. You can see a peek at this. Oh damn! A double socket alloy.
Immediately cross it. Attack speed. A
Attack
big fizz
speed.
roll. Big fizz roll.
Accuracy ugly. What
Fire
was
and
that?
lightning. It's
Fizz.
triple prefix. It's pretty good. How's that compare to his varnished crossbow? I think that. Oh man, it's hard to tell with the +2 gems, but that is a pretty
He has
decent
so
alloy
much
crossbow right
currency.
there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Level 26. He's getting close to it. Not quite there yet, but having that alloy already prepped up. This is potentially going to be his final crossbow. It's good, but it's not the
Yeah, I mean,
best like he can get by any
off the
means.
back of like bonuses from intimidate and stuff like that, it might be good enough. The biggest thing here is
Hmm.
the fact that was already he does his sockets it up and puts it on, so definitely good enough to pass his standards there, and gets that upgrade put on. He's never had to wait for an upgrade. His upgrade has always
Yeah, I
been in
was
the inventory
wondering.
one level beforehand. Normally you're
Damn,
like,
drops the
oh man,
lesser
I'm
jewelers
still
too.
looking. I'm still looking for an upgrade. No, he's
Damn,
good. He's sorted. Gets himself
he
an
dropped
upgraded
the
storm
lesser
moon.
jewelers too, so that's potentially going to help him. He does have that guaranteed one from the Mastodon Badlands that he did earlier, but it still might make a difference. And it was interesting too because he dropped his old crossbow, and I'm like, really? You really think that this is the crossbow that you're going to be sticking with? Because normally you would be salvaging your previous weapons so that you can get some of the potential blacksmiths that you used back, but then also those artificer pieces. So interesting. Okay, he gets it back. Gets the checkpoint for Torgul, goes back for some power charge action. Let's
It was
see. Man, his account really is too full. Look at it. He can't manage his inventory anymore.
he's yeah, that crossbow dropping with the extra sockets and him having 3 artificers means that he's not like fully locked in necessarily. Like he could swap that again, whereas before you'd be like, oh, I'm out of currency. I'm not going to get enough artificers to be able to swap this, and I have to commit at this point. He's a little bit open, and he's got his blacksmiths, and he hasn't committed them to this crossbow.
Man,
So it's possible that he's like waiting to see if he gets another upgrade before slamming those on. Certainly, given that his
another
damage is
lesser
good enough.
jewelers.
What? How is he gonna
Two
do it
in
all?
one zone. But look at it. Look, if we go back to the 4-person view, people are catching up, man. Guy that dies is fighting his Torgul now. Kiom is very close. Driz is super close as well. How effective are these twisters going to be for Guy that dies? Torgul gets frozen.
That's gonna
Nice
it's gonna
damage
put him about
output.
30 seconds and 24 seconds behind on Torgul. So catching back up there. Guy that does have a
Great
nice run
kill.
through that zone.
I don't know if this is a big enough gap for Angormis. I don't think he's comfortable with this. 24 seconds, you really need to be finishing Act 2 much earlier than that because we are approaching the real speedrun part for the
Oh yeah.
Huntress.
You think players have been going fast at this point? You wait. You wait.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a look at Guy That
passives.
Dies' gear right now, because at this point the Huntress races will start looking for both of their spear sets, and they indeed use two different spears. One for the Whirling Slash, which it just needs to be as fast as possible. So they look for a winged spear typically, and attack speed roll. And that's it. That's all they need. They just want them to be as fast as possible. Get those 3 stacks of Whirling Slash down to empower Twister as much as possible, generate that rage, etc. And then they want their second crossbow to be as high physical damage as possible. Now, that's an interesting thing because mercenaries can really use any damage type, but the huntresses really want as much physical damage as possible. Certainly, if they can also get projectile skills levels and crit, that's really, really good for them as well. But the physical lets them take advantage of that, like added cold damage and ice tipped arrows.
Yeah, you convert 100% of your damage with the frosted tips, and then also the frosted tips, baby, and then you get the freezing mark as well for the 30% extra ass cold. So definitely, if you want to truly min max, you would exactly go with the setup that Ziggy was mentioning as Angormus now.
He's got a pretty good fizz damage forked spear there. That's not bad at all, and a decent attack speed. Wait, has he got the attack speed? He's just swapping his spears around pretty actively right now. No, he hasn't got an attack speed roll bit yet, but there's space to like regal and craft that other one, or maybe hold out and wait for a faster attack speed.
Oracle dead for Driz, 140 seconds, which is 10 seconds less than our death timer. So anything can happen still at this stage. And normally in a cast, we would be kind of just hyping you up, guys, it's not over, blah, blah, blah. No, it really is. If you're new to PoE 2 racing, it's not over until it's over. Much more so than in PoE 1. In PoE 1, if you get a lead, you're just better. In PoE 2, you have to kill the bosses. And very often, the bosses kill you. So as we are approaching, once again, Act 3 and Act 4, players will be doing a lot more skipping, a lot more decision-making, many more resets that you're going to be seeing whenever they do get stuck, as Angormus does. No resetting for him quite yet, though. Still has to get a little bit more XP. Only level 27. He wants level 28. And it's not something that Guy That Dies question mark has to worry about, as he's already up to Jamanra, level 25. Actually, it's probably not. It's probably level 27. No, actually, if you take a look at his XP, I don't know. That's half a bar. He's probably 26 and a half. So not quite there yet. Yeah, he's going to be suffering some penalties as we full screen on over for Guy That Dies fighting his Jamanra, when Angormus still doing a little bit of progging. Nice, clean phase 1 for Guy That Dies. And as we transition over to phase 2, the arena will be slightly bigger. But at this stage of the game, the Huntress has access to so many tools for projectile speed, for duration. The bounces are going to go crazy. You can see him going vroom, vroom, vroom with that whirling slash.
Damage.
He beeps, and the boss does not stand a chance. A little bit of downtime before the second combo.
Obliterated there. Yep, getting a chance to do barely
and immediately
one attack, going down. Nice.
Immediately he manages his inventory. You can see him swapping out that spear, and the reason for that is because he's going to be doing a lot less killing and a lot more skipping. So that talisman is just so crucial for that war form, which will then allow him to utilize the dodge roll to skip as many things as possible. I mean, but potentially also we're going to be seeing a skip here after the Hooded One reveals his true identity. Our players can log out at the right moment to save himself time on that pesky run back that many of our Chinese players had to commit to with the longer loading screens last week. Angorm is fighting his boss. Clean phase 1 so far. Nice stun. And Guy That Dies doesn't go for the skip either. Interesting. Oh, not a clean one for Angormus whatsoever. I was taking a look at the ladder, and as I look back, the ad phase is there. This is going to cost Angormus a lot of time. This is like 15 seconds down the drain, unskippable, but potentially Angormus might be beating himself up a little bit. You can see that he's mumbling something to himself, and I don't think he's particularly happy about that, because I'm sure that there was something that he could have done better to allow himself the skip, that very skippable at phase that we rarely see really in the bear form, goes for the ferocious roar,
and Gormus, no.
maximizes his
Mate.
rage, but takes the
A little bit
huge
scary. So getting
hit.
double tapped by Jump and Rush. Should be able to get the kill before Jump and Rush can do too much of anything else here. One little barrage does get dodge rolled out of the way, and then gets that kill. Little bit getting our heart rates elevated there a little bit. But
Yeah, and as we go
I
back to
guess,
the 4-person view, look who's back.
oh, it's I'm
From Exile.
Exile back. Yes, I've been seeing them climbing up. He's been climbing up that ladder. It's little bit by little bit there, and starting the boss fight now, just after Angormus finishes. It's not too far behind at all. Definitely on pace to be considered a threat at this point.
Mhm.
And I love how
Oh,
any race for
no.
Angormus has the ad phase, yeah. For any
Yeah,
race
this
for
is
Angormus
not
to
skippable
get
this
this level of
time.
RNG, having Guy That Dies be so competitive right now and having other strong contenders as well, like that's the best race for him to get this crazy RNG in. It's like this. He should, in theory, in many other races, have had this in the bag. Last week, he would have had it in the bag off the back of this.
Yeah.
But this week, it's a
I can
different
absolutely
story.
see it. Okay, this is making me really tempted to see what kind of time did we even have for last week's race for the Jamanra kill. I feel like we're on a incredible pace from multiple players, but I can't quite remember. Ziggy stall for me. Looking.
I'm
Okay,
Exile
you know
having a
what?
smooth jump and Ra. Gets the
For
kill
other
with no
players, not
worries.
so much. Super clean from Guy That Dies with a 113.08, which is actually only 30-second faster than what Exile was capable of doing last week, being the first person to kill Jamanra.
Yeah, we lost a lot
So
of time in some of those
ahead.
zone misreads as well. So there's a lot of factors in the end. We can look at certain things being so fast and gear drop and RNG and everything, but then
Mhm.
ultimately it's a combination of all of those little zone misreads and missteps, or something taking a little bit extra time in one area, or the seed just being worse and slower overall. It can be hard to tell. Guy That Does getting very nice monkey kill there and slamming that Exalton, getting those extra passives ready to
Yep.
go for the big final push passive tree. As you can see, Guy That Dies doing a quick, furious
Well,
tree loadout.
not quite yet. You know, the final passive tree we have yet to see. That's going to be happening once Tavakai is much more inside for
True,
Guy
true,
That
true.
Dies. So right now he's still trying to maximize mobility. But yeah, when we get to Tavakai, that's going to be the final tree. And guess what? It's just going to be all damage. That is the cool part about Huntress. You gain access to a lot of movement speed nodes, a lot of, I was mentioning the damage nodes previously, but movement speed nodes, you've got sprint nodes. The sprint nodes aren't nearly as needed anymore as you are primarily in your doggy form, but the movement speed nonetheless very useful as, whoa, Driz! That was the weapon that he was using. No wonder his damage was incredible. A physical flat roll with 70 IPD. That's pretty dirty. It's a
And
nice filter
that
he's
means
got
he
over there.
upgraded into something better. So that's a
Yeah.
good place to be in.
Well, yeah, 26, you want that big alloy. It is a massive difference compared to the previous base that our players were using from level 16. There is a weapon that you can use in between, but it's not nearly worth it. And you are incredibly tight on currency
So
for
this is an
a
important zone for the
mercenary.
Huntresses. This is where the Huntresses really
Hmm.
want to get their tame beast. And
Yes.
there is a vendor with a checkpoint that you can reset at to farm that. I believe there's 2 rare monsters there, so a pretty good chance of getting the tame beast you want. And they're looking for specifically anything that leaves a trail, like shock ground, or does periodic explosions for burning ground. And then anything like extra auras and stuff are a bonus on top of that. But ultimately, it's about getting those ground effects to buff those twisters, so you can have that consistent source of twister bonus damage.
Nice
So it'll
kill.
be interesting to see if Guy That Dies gets that here, or it is
I
possible
gotta
that you come
say,
back a little bit later.
I mentioned the nice filter from Driz 23.
There's
His
that reset.
filter leaves a lot to wish
Can we
for.
full
I feel
screen
like
Guy That Dies? A lot of players would not have seen this part of the race last week. The guy that dies has done 3 resets now, and you'll see that they're just checking those beasts as quickly as possible here. You see the mouse over the beast and reset before we can even read what it is, but guy that dies knows exactly what they're looking for. They check the beast,
That's a
bam,
lot.
bam. That's
a
like
lot more
5 resets.
commitment. That's a lot more commitment that we saw last week from our Chinese players, especially. They would mostly just get any tame beast that will allow them for a little bit more face tanking on bosses. He finds something that he likes.
Yeah, there's the fire trail. That's what they want. Fire trail with an energy shield aura.
Yeah, there's also the energy shield.
Which one's he? I'm assuming he's going for the fire trail. He's actually getting killed. Careful, guy. You don't want to die to the beast you're trying to tame.
Well, you have to bring it. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Careful. Well, it gets it.
Okay. Jeez.
We're all good. There we go. Tame beast is secured, and now that source of burning ground. Very nice. On top of that, a little bit of a discipline aura for an extra 200 energy shield doesn't hurt.
It's a big deal. That energy shield.
A nice chunk of survivability right there.
Yeah, it will help him a lot. Not when he's running around as he's despawning the beast. There's a lot of weapons management that our players go through to make sure that they have all the right things at all the right times. But yeah, that tame beast potentially might be risky when you're running past a lot of things. So they're only going to be spawning it for the single target damage.
I'm pretty sure we just saw 23 get their beast like immediately. I haven't pulled it out yet, but yeah, I think they got that beast sorted out right away. So very good stuff. But I think when they're running out of wolf form, you're not going to see it because it's on the other weapon set.
Yeah, it seems like our next checkpoint is the Chimera Wetlands, with Guy That Dies being the first one in the zone. 1 hour, 17 minutes, 52 seconds. No, there we go. Finally, 23 is there, 50 seconds behind. You can see them pulling
Cyclosion up the stairs into this narrow little area for the Twister bouncers. Pulls out that beast there, which gives that burning ground immediately. And there's that big extra damage. Cyclosion getting frozen on the stairwell. And so much. He actually gets away. No,
disaster.
That's not what Guy That Die wants. It was just slightly too slow. They were at the bottom of that staircase. Maybe some of those twisters went the wrong way and missed. And now has to sit through a phase just like everyone else.
His hand was forced. The Cyclosion started attacking. Not quite at the optimal spot. You want him a little bit deeper towards that gate, that doorway there. But yeah, when the boss starts making moves, you got to start making your moves as well. And because of that, the Guy That Dies have an extra phase there, which potentially will allow 23 to surpass him. 8 seconds behind. They're close. 8-second difference between our two top players right now.
We didn't even see any Huntresses, and we just saw, except for Guy That Dies, and now look at the ladder. It is more than half Huntresses as 23 catches up, and now Guy That Dies and 23 in the first 2 places there. Then Gormus falling just a little bit behind. We'll get an updated time when Gormus gets his Cyclosion kill in a bit, but having a little bit of a battle through the Chimera Wetlands here. I think misread. Yeah, he's like back. I swear he just backtracked the same area twice, and Gormus is having a woeful zone here. Look at that dead end.
This isn't the first time we've seen this from Angormus. Right? He got lost in the previous zone as well.
Yeah, that's rough. Losing a lot of time to zone misreads here. I mean, yeah, he can sure-footed sigil dodge roll around all day, but those zone misreads are costing him a lot of time there. Here we go. Frost Breath for Cyclosion, maybe. We got a Leap Slam into... What do we got here? Just doing a couple default attacks. Gets that stun. This could be good for Angormus, depending on what Cyclosion does right after this stun. Nah, it's up in the air.
Not nice.
Unfortunate. I was hoping for a nice clean Cyclosion cycle for him, but not to be. Maybe Angormus' luck starting to run out.
Look at that. Did Exile... This is something that Ziggy mentioned previously, but I believe Exile made the same mistake. I'm not 100%.
No, he's got it. There he is. Yeah, that was further over. Let's see how Exile's Cyclosion goes for comparison. Into the Fire Breath, and then takes off. So no real gain for Exile there, as that Cyclosion's going to take roughly a similar amount of time.
But is this going to be the only one? He can do this multiple times. It was just one.
He's actually got enough health,
Guy That Dies.
It could happen again.
Let's see what kind of damage are we looking at.
Yeah. He's got that stun kind of queued up, though, which is
he was waiting.
See him through. Yeah. The pause there. That was well played.
Nice. Yeah, that was really well played. That was very smart. He was waiting for a little bit longer to be able to transition immediately into that big stun, but he's not happy with his run. He's shaking his head. He knows he's behind, and it's going to be difficult to catch up. As Guy That Dies already having picked up one core. Nice read on the zone. He's going to be using the generator here, resetting at the checkpoint, which will not just reset the mobs, but also put him at that checkpoint. He's going to be going back. The reason for that is because in this zone, you don't want to go towards the middle, as sometimes it can be a big dead end, and then you end up going back. But this is already his second core, actually. So the reason why he was resetting was to allow those red lines to immediately appear on the boss, which skips that entire waiting portion of the line going towards it, as ZiggyD losing a lot of HP from the twisters. Nice dodges, great positioning. The war banner on the ground will allow Guy That Dies to really maximize his output. Super clean kill from our Huntress player here.
Let's have a look. I'm trying to get a read on what what his damage is, because that looked like a really good kill. So typically they're
Great
looking for
kill
like
23.
300 plus average damage on Twister. So I'll try and get a read on that, but I can't at the moment when they're in wolf form.
It's so close. They're 10 seconds apart. The Guy That Dies desperately trying to put a larger gap between himself and the second place. But man,
I mean,
the thing is too,
for anyone here.
obviously they're trying to go as quickly as possible, but 23 is very aware of the lead the Guy That Dies has. But I'm not sure if Guy That Dies is aware of where the second place is and how close he really is. You know, we talk about the 2.5 minute death timer, but if we're potentially having a world first deathless run for the second place Exilecon Qualifier.
It's actually crazy we haven't had any on-screen deaths yet. That is like almost unheard of in these races.
It's unreal.
Typically we've had like two or three by this point. Everyone is on fine form.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm getting nervous. Is it going to be a bloodbath this latter half? I don't know, man.
Damn.
I'm just waiting for everything to go wrong.
We've got LHD entering the top 6. Nicely done. I'm Exile.
Nice.
Unfortunately, being at 6th place now, and Lee Donglin catching up. The Huntress, 127 seconds behind, which once again is much less than a 2.5 minute death timer. And if any of these players die on Tavakai as well, it resets all of the phases. So even if you're in phase 3, it resets the whole thing. So it's much
like
more than just 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a big time loss. This is way too close to be suffering any sort of like 4-minute death penalty. Yeah, that's for sure. Looks like Angormus is committed to that crossbow, dropping full 20 quality on that alloy that has decent triple damage rolls. Definitely not the best I've seen. Trying to see what that explosive grenade damage is looking like for Angormus. Obviously, a bit of bonus damage off the Intimidate there is good to have.
Unprecedented struggles from Angormus. His inventory really is just kind of a mess this race. It is so unusual to see him in this state. But I mean, that's just what happens. The faster you go, the less time you have to mess around with all of your things that a lot of our players take for granted, like the inventory, like the passive screen, spending less time in town. But the single target, it's looking clean.
Yeah, the rend came out a little bit too early, so it didn't quite last the fight, but it did get that first volley down, and then a decent shock carried him through the rest of the boss fight there. So that 20% increased damage taken on top of the Intimidate meant for a pretty fast ZiggyD despite the slight bad timing. So it ended up working out.
Waterways cleared from Guy That Dies. 23, still quite a ways away from the finish. The gap is getting bigger.
Yeah, might be losing a little bit of time.
Oh no! I see gray, I see red, LHD.
Another off-screen death. Story writers, don't you know off-screen deaths are kind of lazy? Come on.
Yeah, come on. This script sucks.
Yes. Who wrote this script?
Last season better be good. Come on.
Oh no. I'm Exile getting a very fast and smooth kill there, actually. Looking even better than Angormus.
He's tilted though. I can tell. I've seen a guy. I've seen Exile like this many times, and his face expression is very World of Warcraft emote right now. He is not happy with this run, and this might potentially be, speaking of World of Warcraft, his last attempt at the qualifiers for Exilecon 2. So, or for PoE 2 Exilecon. Sorry, because he's most definitely still going to be competing for PoE 1.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Been good to see them doing such a solid run here. Angormus, no,
I see another red name.
No, Angormus, no.
And this one was definitely on screen. Disaster, the curse of the tabulast.
Yep, replays coming up in a moment here. We'll see what happened. We should be able to, I believe, take a look at that full screen, maybe. Oh no!
The waterways.
Oh no! I'm devastated, man.
Still difficult.
He's had the race of all races for Mercenary here, and I feel like for many people this will be the nail in the coffin for whether Mercenary can compete against Huntress, because they see Angormus have a run with the best possible RNG, and then, you know, and then potentially fall apart here in the mid to late game.
Let's see.
Let's take a look at what happened just here. Here is our instant replay. Okay, we through that pack pretty comfortably. Oh, the jump back into the stacked doorway there, and then it was all over so quickly. That was brutal.
Just getting a lot more comfortable with this zone. Yeah, players getting a lot more comfortable with this zone ever since they've removed the levers, but it's still hard. There's just so many. This zone and also Utsal are the two zones where you really cannot afford to make any mistakes, as the corridors are tight and the mobs, the packs are dense.
Crazy kill for a guy that dies just so fast.
Nicely
done.
I
gotta say about that Angormus death, Rise, was that a sure-footed sigil based death? Like, if he went to dodge roll and he dodge roll a meter further than he meant to into that pack there. Like if his dodge roll was a meter shorter, he wouldn't have been where he was. He would have been
in front instead of in the middle.
In front of the pack, right? And then would have pulled them aside and then went through the doorway as normal, as you probably have practiced 8 billion times. So I have to wonder, was that a tabulast incident right there?
Angormus is in hell. I feel for my man. As guy that dies, still maintaining. Oh, 23 is dead too.
23.
I just look over.
Such strong competition with guy that dies.
Oh no!
Just trailing so close behind. Oh, you know what this means? We get to say the line. This is guy that dies' race to lose at this point.
There's no way he's losing this one.
Unless. Okay, let's take a look at this. He's got 680 health. That's a really good place to be right now. I believe his beast gives him 200 extra energy shield buffer. That puts him well over that 700 health.
That energy shield is stupid. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really good one-tap potential. That gives you an extra, like, shot taken on Tavakai. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. His damage is looking pretty good. I'm going to take a look at his gear in a moment, just to see if he kind of has everything that he wants.
Has to dodge that.
Managing the barrage, yeah.
Pretty large time loss. Man, his beast is staying alive so well. Still full HP. That energy shield really not just being super useful for guy that dies, but also the beast survivability is a major factor.
Yeah, let's take a look at that replay from 23 here. See what happened that led to their downfall here. They're still not out of the race. I think they're close enough that they could still be a threat if guy that dies goes down, but catching up now is going to be... That was... what actually happened there?
He stood on the mushrooms. The mushrooms blew him up, so normally you would be proccing them and moving away.
Yeah, it's usually that roll slam that gets them. Let's see.
It's a major element of managing this fight, but yeah, I think he gets away from the initial slam. The second rolling slam can kill any player.
Yeah,
gets that enfeeble. It's the mushroom.
Oh my! You could not see the mushrooms through all the twisters. Oh no! The build's too good.
Mushroom
ground effects. A classic Path of Exile death right there. My build putting out too much damage. I got visibility. Just did not respect those mushrooms.
He rode those mushrooms. This guy's the mushroom surfer. He walked as they
All
kept
over it.
exploding outwards. He just walked on top of them.
Yep,
Yeah,
for real. Did not
it's so
realize.
when you're this focused, you can see 23 now finishes his fight, so he recovers nicely, but a big
Yeah,
time
good
loss. But yeah,
recovery.
there's just constant focus for our players. There's so much that you have to pay attention to, and sometimes you take things for granted. Fights that you've done 10,000 times, the 10,000 and first time that you do it might just claim your life. And this
That's
race
it.
is a particularly bad one to lose your life in, as Guy that Dies with a really consistent lead so far. Now on Viper, a very
Yeah, let's see
challenging
how that
fight for
Viper
a lot of our
goes.
players. She actually doesn't have chaos damage conversion, contrary to popular belief, but the majority of her abilities do have a potential chance to poison our players. And there are also two attacks. The big rain coming down, the purple rain in particular, is pure chaos damage. And then also the dot that she leaves on the ground is chaos damage as well. So if you happen to sneak in a little bit of chaos resistance, it might help, but it's primarily physical with Guy that Dies freezing the boss now, that energy shield holding
That's
strong.
good.
You can see immediately getting depleted by that dot on the ground that I just mentioned
Ooh,
as
clean one phase. No immunities. Real
oh,
nice
she
for Guy
doesn't
that
even
Dies.
let me yap, man. He
No, no
didn't
time
even
for
let me
yapping.
finish the yap, man. Come on.
He gets a unique too. I'll take a look at what that one is. I didn't recognize what that belt is. I don't think it's anything too good, but let's have a look. Utility
He does
belt. Keel Haul. This is
progress.
the flask and mana, like the life and mana flask recovery rate and charges gain belt. This is a nice
Nice
leveling belt if you're
stun.
playing nice and slow, having a nice chillaxing
Oh,
run through the campaign, and you just want your flask to stay full so you can relax. Not really a speedrunning belt. Doesn't have anything
clean
else for you.
kill. Clean kill from Exile, and you can see he's going for the skip. The rundown skip, so he uses the checkpoint to go back to the waypoint, then uses that waypoint to go back to another waypoint, and then he uses the loading screen to move while he's loading into the next zone. As you just saw, he basically spawned, and this allows you to skip that entire rundown on the pyramid, so a clean run from Exile, and also, the fixed seed layout will allow all of our players to have a correct read on this zone, as there's a much larger chance for it to be the furthest way away from the door, which all of our players will try to go first, exactly as Exile did, and then you go towards the top first, you go over that gap. The gap always indicates the exit and the entrance to the boss zone, so none of our players will be getting lost in this one in particular. Same thing from Kiyomi, who actually will be the second place person to get to that fiery boss fight. On the mercenary, the single target looking really good for
Yeah,
Kiyomi.
fast
Got
kill
the
there.
dice approaching his Doriani. And
Did
what
not
kind
move
of
around at all.
output are we expecting from from Exile? Oh, we can't even look at Exile because the potential laser skip is happening for Gather Dice. Our first place so far. He doesn't have a Malice Scepter, I don't believe, so a little bit less damage than he would be doing normally with a little bit more RNG. But if his output is sufficient, the boss should freeze and not enough damage will happen, but Doriani cooperates. The laser skip is here, and that will allow Guided Dice to save himself a lot of time, as those 15 seconds are a major element of this
Yeah,
fight. Second phase for Guided Dice. Super
doing
clean
everything to
so far.
maintain and extend this lead bit by bit. Guy that dies, not giving any slack to the other races to take advantage of here. Multiple
Yep.
times now and be like, oh, we could lose 20 seconds here. No, that 20 seconds is not lost. And indeed, Doriani getting frozen here. A fairly good amount of damage coming down. His gear is just acceptably good, nothing too crazy, and that just makes this all the more impressive, I think. You know, we're not seeing any sort of Angormus gear here from Guy that dies. This is just raw skill and practice and getting it done. He did practice just all day, every day this last week, and that's showing.
Yep. Really incredible run from Guided Dice. And as I mentioned before, with Act 2, the Germanra kill was about 30 seconds. behind last week, but for Doriani, it's a way more significant difference. The earliest Doriani kill last week, I believe, was 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 12 seconds. So a very noticeable
2 minutes save
difference.
there. Nice.
Yeah, 2-minute difference.
Oh, 23 just getting barraged. We just caught the tail end of that.
Oh no,
That
Viper was
brutal.
almost dead too. She was 1 HP. He sent it and it didn't work.
Oh, that's the most important HP, the last one. Let's
Yep.
go. I might have to take a look at the replay of that when we get a chance. I need to see that again in full screen. It was
Deaths
brutal.
are ramping.
Kyom, maybe getting that. Yeah,
Nice.
there we go. No immunity phase for Kyom. Nice kill ultimately there. I'm Exiles on their fight. We can shuffle over to them and just take a look at how it's going. This is going a bit slow for I'm Exile from the looks of things. I'm a bit worried about an immunity phase coming up here. The stun timing is everything on the mercenary for the immunity phases. You want to get that stun like at the right time, but not too early though, and she goes into it. And you lose too late. You lose all that stun build up, and then.
But it could get worse. He could go for another one.
Could indeed get worse. Yeah.
On the bright side, it does allow the cooldown on that stun to reset a little bit. And there's the second one. No, okay, he stuns her out of the rain phase. Will he be able to finish her here, or are we going to be seeing another invulnerability phase?
Oh no, that's exactly what you don't want. Yeah, stunning her out of the first one means that she's much more likely to go into the immunity phase once again. That's the unfortunate one right there. Badly timed stun.
And you know what could be worse than 2 immunity phases?
A third one. No, surely not.
Oh my god! It's disaster. It's hell.
Why do you do
I'm Exile is... It's hell.
Oh no. Oof.
Worst case scenario.
Jacob, don't say it again, Rise, please.
Okay, I'm pretty sure she can't go fourth phase. I'm pretty sure.
Surely not.
She's hard programmed to not do fourth phase. It has
to be damageable at some point, right?
That's ridiculous. That's so unlucky.
Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. All right, I think we have a little bit of time for that replay now. Let's find out what happened. Look how close she is to being dead. Oh my. You had it. You just needed one more. And then in that corner, okay, yeah. Just like, oh. Okay, what do we got here?
No way he dies to the...
Oh no,
he's choking!
Yeah, the choke onto the dodge there, and then eats the barrage. And she's still so close to dead, but the energy shield came back.
She immune again!
Wait, immune? Oh no, wait, what?
The back-to-back immune? Or are we replaying the replay?
With a hit point? What is going on, man?
Oh my...
Oh no, just so tilted by that string of events. Oh no.
You know, I thought that it can't get worse than Exiles fight.
That was
worse. It
can.
Immune back to back into death.
That was worse. Oh no.
That was the
okay, we've just seen some of the filthiest Viper fights we've seen since like the earliest seasons before players had it figured out.
Laser skip from Kyom? It's close. Yeah, he did it.
Yeah, nice. Looks like it. 23 getting their revenge with a gigantic set of twisters just obliterating the boss. Makes you think like, why didn't this happen last time? How did the fight go so wrong that first time? 23 like does 2 sets of twisters and just boss is completely obliterated. Like that first one is just such a tilting, unfortunate string of events and timing.
As entertaining as watching Kyom's fight is, I think at this stage we have to go to Guy That Dies. He is approaching the finish line. He's getting through these zones really quickly. The prison has been done, and now fighting the prisoner. His damage is looking good. Guy That Dies approaching that ballista, making sure to click it as quickly as possible. I gotta say, there's a lot less positioning that our players are doing in this fight now. I don't know if it's out of the respect of the potential damage output of this boss, but it used to be that players would position themselves close to the closest ballista. Like, why is he running over to the right one when he could just be clicking the left one?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like people would min-max this fight to such a large degree previously. I mean, a part of it is seeing the boss. You always
Yeah,
want whatever you're fighting to be at the top of your screen because you see a little bit further than
true,
otherwise. So
true.
if he goes to the left one, he's having to look down. But that's a lot of running around that he was doing there. That's definitely a couple seconds lost, I believe. I'm
Exile in
Exile
their
now
second
with
phase,
his Doriani
Doriani.
fight.
Yeah, going very nicely. Lots of damage during that stun. One little bit of time here. Probably no time for a butt laser. Doriani goes down. Nice and smooth for Exile. Pretty good catch up for them.
And
Kind
yeah,
of
we've
dies.
approached. Lee Donglin is second, but 176 seconds. That's more than an entire death. I can't remember if Lee Donglin did have a rip. I don't think so. Not that
Not that I
we've seen
recall.
anyway.
Yeah, so this has
So,
been a straight catch up here. But look how the pack has shuffled once again. We've got two Huntresses in the top, the Huntresses that are kind of being the most consistent and not dying. Meanwhile, all the
right.
other Huntresses that have died have dropped off the ladder, and now we've got, once
Yes.
again, a ladder populated by mercenaries. But the most important slot, obviously, that top one, which Guy That Dies has
As
absolutely in the
long as you can
bag.
stay alive.
As long as he can stay alive, because that's 176 seconds by my math. That is about that 2.5 minute death penalty time right there.
Nice. No charger skip for Exile. A lot of time saved there. Or, well, yeah, we've seen players lose a lot of time if they misclick that charter there. But Lee Donglin in his prison, and now you can see he's doing a lot of hippity hoppiting around those cages, allows him to skip that, sticking to that ocean side, which will let him skip the entire middle portion of this. He just needs to turn at the appropriate moment, and that will lead him directly to the boss. Exile going through his Isle of Kin. We're not going to be seeing any extra events that our players are going to be doing at this stage of the game. They are 20 levels below the zone level. And this will only increase as the XP penalty is way too severe. There's no advantage to trying to kill monsters anymore. So our players are only going to be doing a little bit of gear min-maxing, as you just saw on Guided Dice screen. Now
Yeah,
fighting Krutog, Lord of Kin, and a perfect arena will allow him for a precise timing on the freeze. Drops the banner immediately to maximize the damage output in that
really
DPS
good.
window. Krutog doesn't stand a chance. Clean
Perfection.
kill. I gotta say, he is looting a lot too, though. I feel like he could skip the loot at this stage and it would save him time, you know? It's not like he's gonna go map after this or something. You're trying to
Yeah,
qualify for Exocon.
go map after this. Yeah, there's a bit of stuff still to be done. Ultimately, you want to be kind of cleaning up your sockets. Oh, Lidon going very low there against the prisoner. Like I said, can be a bit of a surprisingly dangerous boss fight. Yes, there's
Yeah.
polishing up the gear sockets, trying to get that life up over that 700 mark, because you get down to 600 range, and Tavakai phase 3 will just one shot you with everything. So, you know, you're doing these bosses 20 levels under or whatever. You gotta try and hit those breakpoints to make things just a little bit safer for yourself. Because, like we said, the biggest threat right now is not losing 10 seconds of gearing to Guy That Dies, but losing 2.5 minutes plus to a death
Yes.
at
That's true.
Tavakai. That is the thing that would end the race for Guy That Dies. So maybe an
Or
extra 10, 20
Thorvian.
seconds spent gearing would be the thing that makes a difference there. So they're going to be, guys going to be looking for exalts in the upcoming zone. There's some guaranteed exalts to be picked up from the bells in Arastus even. And that can be a little bit of extra damage or an extra life roll. Those things can make a difference. But I will say, Guy That Dies looking pretty well, looking quite pretty right now on 696 health with that extra energy shield aura. I'll take a look at their resistances as well, actually. Cold resistance really high. Wait, yeah, this is them. Cold resistance really high. Fire and lightning pretty low, but that does mean any potential upsets with the icicle beams are not quite as bad. We did see
There we have.
Exile suffer 2 deaths to the icicle rains in Tavakai last week, so a
Yes.
mistake I'm sure they're not looking to repeat this week. As
And
that is
back on
a
the
phase.
screen in the bottom left, you guys have Angormis, who's now going through the prison. He's back. You know, he's
He's
catching
back.
up. That unfortunate death.
Yeah,
The
that's a big one.
untiltable mountain that Angormis is doesn't allow him to not continue to attempt his best here. Looking nice so far. The latter, a little bit uncertain where everybody is. Our checkpoints are pretty far set apart in Act 4.
Leap slam over the
Something that we
walls
can...
there. Those little prison bars, just like in Path of Exile 1, can be leapt over.
Yep.
Love it. Don't understand. Don't worry about the physics of that. There's no roofs in this universe.
It makes sense to me.
Leap over the doorways as well, of course.
And yeah, you can see that he immediately knows which corner he needs to turn a little bit earlier to be able to get to that boss zone. That's something that I talked about earlier.
Diamond Shrine for guy that dies. There's enough time on that? 30 seconds? Okay, it's going to be a quick boss fight here.
Diamond Shrine for everybody, but guy that dies will benefit from this the most because it will speed up the race, right?
Look at that. That's like one volley.
Yep.
It's basically one volley. Damn, there's another Jeweler's Orb. Could he even... I don't even know if he has anything to put that on now. You remember, he goes and picks it up. There's an Orb of Annulment too. He doesn't pick the Orb of Annulment up. There's no annulling going on. In theory...
Yeah, there are a bunch of guaranteed shrines, and with the fixed seed layout, that's going to mean that all of our players will be getting the same shrines. But the more speed that all of our players get, that just means the guy that dies has... or everybody else has less of an opportunity to catch up to guy that dies. So, and also, I mean, you know, a diamond shrine on Benedictus, it makes the Benedictus fight a lot easier, which potentially will prevent a guy that dies from dying, which also is very heavily in his favor as he is now in Arastas. Angorimus finishing up his prisoner fight, will be heading over to Shrike Island. And hopefully he's also going to be somebody who will find that diamond shrine as well.
I think so. Looking at guy that dies' gear, that extra Jeweler's Orb went on ice tipped arrows for rapid casting for some cast speed. Why not, eh? Looking at the gear here, there's a few things to be exalted potentially. Go ahead.
The presence of mind to be able to do something like that and a run like this, it's really impressive because, you know, not normally you're having 3 or 4 lesser jeweler orbs in your run. So again, it showcases how much practice he put in to be able to just think stuff like that up on the fly, you know, something that saves you a split second. But that split second, we've seen races in PoE 2 finish within a singular second. So who knows? Maybe this additional support gem could determine everything. We're gonna have to wait and see. But a very clean barrier
those exalts. There's not a lot of being damaged. Oh, maybe actually there's a lot of open prefixes on the rings. So those could be more damage rolls or life. So those exalts could be quite big here. I assume would get thrown on the rings. And that, those could be extra life or damage rolls there. So those could be a big extra game for Guy here. So we'll be keeping a close eye on what they do with those bonus exalts if they pick them up in Arastas here from the bells. Unexiles with the prisoner. Trying to get that wing blast down. Took a few attempts, but got it in the end. Not really taking very big advantage of it. Prisoner's stun bar ultimately pretty low. But lots of opportunities to pre-stack grenades between the ballista phases. You time it well, you're not wasting any explosions. Exile is using the full arena worth of ballistas.
I think he got pushed out because the boss was slamming, so he actually was forced over to the other one, but the boss follows, so nicely done by him, you know?
The one lined up, ready to go, already pre-swapping over. Another one of those crossbows.
That's not going to be useful, and Exile doesn't like what he sees, but Torvian, for guy that dies.
Yeah, Torvian.
Difficult fight. Immediately gets that rock throw before the mechanic is up for Torvian.
That was really good position, though. Yeah, that was big.
Okay, here we go.
He is ready for that next one. It was a little close, but gets it.
Yeah, that left one is very important for Huntress because it prevents ailments. So getting rid of that mechanic is super important. The right one will result in some damage reduction. So you have to get that rock thrown as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you can't do any damage to Torvian. But having frozen the boss already previously, you can see that freeze build up quite rapidly. It is a challenging part of this fight, especially because if you freeze the boss, he's not throwing any rocks. And if he's not throwing rocks and you've got one of the ads present, you're not doing damage. You can see the left one is up now. That big fire beam does so much damage.
We've seen
Woodish die to it in last week.
He's just going to have to
on the slams. He doesn't see anything, but
Can't see anything
Twisters
through that beam
take care of
there.
business anyway.
Yeah, just had to brute force it for that final phase there. The beam was right on top of where you needed that rock to be thrown, and the beast had
Oh
absorbed one of the
no!
rock throws too.
Look at Exile. He already picked up the Diamond Shrine. Normally, you would be using the checkpoint to go back for it, to
20
have it for the
seconds.
boss fight. Can
Yeah,
he
that's no
get to
good.
the boss with just 20 seconds remaining? Was that a
Yeah, no,
misclick?
it's not going to happen. He's going to miss that damage for sure.
Yeah, there's no way, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, the frustration
Right.
showing for Exile here.
Oof.
Quite disastrous indeed, as Angormus pulls ahead on the Mercenary, now in Arastas, going through the barrier. Li Lin in the same spot as well, but only rank 1 matters in this race. At 1 hour and 52 minutes, we're getting dangerously close to the finish line. Happily for Guy That Dies, not so much for anybody else. Will Guy That Dies be the second person to qualify for Exilecon and join Giluo in New Zealand? Another diamond. Okay, it's actually double diamond shrine for Benedictus as well. I was kind of using it as an example, but it actually happened.
Crazy.
Again, everybody will have access to this, but a diamond shrine heavily
You need to take
speeds up the
advantage of it.
race. It makes
Yeah.
this fight a lot easier.
What record paces
The
here?
freeze?
Yeah. Freezes
This
down.
is so clean. Oh, he delays the war banner, but then he realizes the boss is about to unfreeze. Still gets the transition, so nicely done. Benedictus still has quite a lot of HP. He tries to get as much damage in as possible.
It's so close. Oh, yes. Gets it
There we
for
go.
an
Wow,
immunity.
he gets it.
Very nice. There was a few twisters kind of not cooperating there and missing. I was worried it was actually going to go into an immunity phase despite the diamond shrine, but manages to pull it off there in the end. And Exile gets their boss kill down there as well.
And that was the diamond shrine making a massive difference, because Guy That Dies doesn't have to deal with any additional phases, which should happen for a lot of other players. But no diamond shrine for Angormus on the Torvian fight. This is
stuns down.
Very difficult boss.
Has to get those rock tosses.
Okay. Has to tank it. Dodges the slam. Nicely done. Gets hit, but no double hits.
Another one. Okay, that's good. And one more. Really having to work hard for these rock tosses on this one.
Yeah, and he got a little scared there. The top one gives damage to Torvian, and with the Gormus losing so much HP, he recognizes that he can get double tap by that chakram throw, and throws the rock at the top one. Here comes the big beam. Will there be another slam? No, there's the chakram throw. No slam. He's spinning. This should be a finish here. Big dodges on the grenades. Torvian is moving so much. This boss can be so difficult with that delay. Not something Twisters have to worry about. The slam is in. Oh my god, he kills the boss right before getting hit by that second portion of the slam. Close. We've seen Woodish die to this boss last week. Li Donglin on the Huntress. Now utilizing the Twisters to be able to just clean up Torvian so nicely. But Guy That Dies in the final stretch now. I think we have to fully focus.
This is the zone where everything can go wrong.
The second to last zone. So much min-maxing is going to happen now. Very difficult zone to get through. For sure, you can see he's still taking a look at some of his gear.
The rings were crafted, but they just didn't really land the way that I think Guy That Dies wanted them to. Ultimately, the extra gain stats there, like a little bit of unnecessary resistance and not a lot of extra damage or anything like that. So no big help. This is like the most normal, fine gear that I've seen. This is the most finest, average, just decent gear
and
that Guy That Dies could have for this race. But he's making full use of it.
But if he doesn't die, this will be an under 2 hour finish. This is incredible. 2 hours and
4 minutes.
How much
now.
Was it last week?
I have to have a clean. It was 2:06. Let me just check. The Giluo had 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 46 seconds. We're certainly on pace to beat that. We don't have any deaths here. This is a bad spot.
Yeah, that's rough. But every spot on this map is rough. It is very difficult. Exile with his Torvian. might potentially give himself an opportunity to catch up still if Guy that dies actually sticks to his namesake and dies.
As the checkpoint
Getting
for guy
stunned.
that dies.
Listen, guys, that bug was fixed. Okay, no more.
Yeah, no more bear
bear
stuns.
for freaking out.
Yep.
That was
bug
just a
has
good
been
old
fixed after the
stun.
last race. Very good stuff. The race is doing a good job of finding a few bugs for us to get fixed. Good job, team.
True.
All right, guy that dies focus. Let's bring it up. Here we go. Everything is about this last pathing through the zone here and then the Thorvian fight. Oh no, the checkpoint reset. He did just hit the checkpoint, so that is a reasonable spot to have to reset. He doesn't lose too much time there.
Spot.
Way better than having a death there, that's for sure. So
Okay,
being a little bit overcautious on the
Ziggy.
resets. I mean, that was very necessary, that one. He still has to get through that same spot again. Okay, he's going a different route this time. He's like, you know what, I might go a different way.
Yep. And that's going to be the right way to go. Is that little ledge there.
Yeah, nice.
No
Skirts around the packs. Yep, much better, much cleaner this time. There we go. That's what you want to see. Much cleaner. A little bit of an ambush waiting inside that house. You can't really see until that roof peels away when you get inside. This is a little bit dodgy looking. Sneaks through the bushes. Nice.
To go all the way around. But he's here.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is it.
Took the long route around that League Mechanic pack there and is into the boss fight. Oh, I can catch my breath for a second. I was holding my breath that whole time.
He's not respecking though.
No,
he's already done his respecking.
Ready to go. 679 life with the 204 energy shield. Just the life pool itself is like a little bit on the lower end, but the energy shield does offer a nice extra safety buffer.
It's a third of his HP. I believe he can, in phase 1, he can even live through the slam with this HP.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it gives him good one-shot potential, but the thing that energy shield is not coming back once it goes down. Not in phase 2 and 3. So it's
in
kind
phase
of like
1, there's
it's a one chance.
In phase 1, there's only one dangerous attack, but in the second and the third phase, every attack is dangerous. So yes, there's a lot more dots too.
I'm definitely holding my breath a bit too much in this race. This is wild. This is the race to point to when people are like, race is just all about RNG. No, a guy that does has the most normal RNG in the world right now.
He's just better.
He's just racing so hard.
He's just better. I mean, there's just
that's a lot of damage taken there. He considers the reset right off the bat there. Phase 2 is not going very nicely. Is he doing his
there's something wrong.
Looks like maybe there was a bit of a gear skill setup issue.
Yeah.
Correction.
There's something wrong with his setup.
Now, I don't actually know.
The boss is in a rough spot. You normally want him to be close to the wall, but not that close. If he's standing directly on the wall, the Twisters don't have an opportunity to hit multiple times. He's already used this war banner. Not the cleanest fight for guy that dies so far, but nice dodges on the spikes. The second one also gets dodged very precisely. Will the third one be a clean one too? Yes. Nice leap slam from the boss. Dodges it perfectly too. Great positioning now. The freeze comes out.
The freeze is good.
25% chill.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Really
and yeah, the beast. Look how much the beast is tanking. We've seen this last week as well, but this energy shield beast
makes a big difference.
So valuable.
Really good here. Not what I would expect to be a top tier aura, but absolutely this beast is doing some hard work here. Now, we saw a lot of deaths to the Icicle Rain last time around. Inventory is ready, open. Going to be taking a look at the totems to see which one illuminates, because that gives you a clue as to what skill the boss is going to be using.
But it's a nicer layout too. It's a better arena. It's much easier to see the totem this week around.
Yeah, you can actually see both. See that positioning in that exact spot to see both sides of the arena and knows, okay, cool, it's just the sun. We're good to go full DPS here. I don't need to be equipping my tower shield or anything like that. Full damage. The freeze is down.
Is this hitting him? The sun might hit him here, no? Okay, yeah, he manages to dodge it. That was really close.
That was really nice dodge rolling for that slam there as well. Great positioning. Big damage. There's the twister. The repeats. One more barrage will do it, and he gets it. Guy that dies, question mark. Quest is the first to beat Tavakai and secure the
0 death Huntress. Unprecedented.
Crazy. Whoa, what was the time? It was like, was that bang on 2 minutes? 2 hours even? That must have been just slightly over.
1 minute.
Oh, and Gomes was so close in the end as well. He did catch back up. Oh, and Gomes with a heroic effort catching back after a death there.
Yeah,
man,
but
without that death, he would have had it, right? Like, For sure, it's going to be that
mean,
exact time difference, I think.
Wow, this was so ridiculously close, but Guided Dice against all odds, you know, I gotta mention this. Guided Dice has a lot of haters, okay? People were rooting against him, but against all odds, he shows that he's just the top player, not just for the second qualifier, but also so far in all of the qualifiers, noticeably ahead, deathless, and he's gonna be at Exilecon to show what he's truly got.
That was a wild, just super skilled run from Guy that does. Angormus taking a lot of damage there from Tavakai. How does Angormus top this next week? That's the thing, right? Like, to have such a ridiculous run this way, it's going to get this week and then not win it. That's going to get in your head for next week, I feel. Like, the mental damage from that is tough. I don't know how I'd recover, honestly.
Yep.
Do you make a swap to Huntress like halfway through the qualifiers, or do you stick with it and be like, well, I know what I did wrong? I feel like Angormus is probably going to be the one who's like, I know what I did wrong. I know what I need to fix.
The thing about Angormus is too, people always talk about like, wow, why would I watch this bunch of no-lifers playing the video game? Angormus is a hardworking individual. He has a full-time job and everything. So this guy puts all of his efforts into practice, and a switch over to a Huntress, it might not even be possible for him. Honestly, looking at this, I don't think it's necessary. Genuinely, I don't think it's necessary. I think the two classes are that close. People were saying that you have to not die and everything, blah, blah. Nah, Mercenary is as competitive as Huntress is in a lot of ways. It's a different play style. But nonetheless, another Huntress qualifies for Exilecon. It's going to be Guided Dice.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think there's a shot for the Mercenaries. Originally, my prediction was going to be 2 Mercenaries, 2 Huntresses. Now it's starting to skew a little bit towards the Huntresses, though. Maybe we see something like 3 Huntresses and 1 Mercenary. Depends on if we see any more last-minute swaps. Li Dong looking pretty good here. Let's take a look at the overall field. I'm just curious to see how our top 4 finishes look like, so that we have a bit of an idea of what the competition is looking like for next week. But that was a heck of a race, Rise. It was a pretty wild race right there, mate.
Hell yeah. And yeah, noticeably no Juluo so far finishing the race either. So no 4-race dominance as we are used to seeing from Tide 23 for PoE 1. For PoE 2, it's going to be...
Oh, Li Dong going down there in phase 3.
Oh, no.
Oh, right off the bat there.
And he knows it's over, too. Immediately taps out.
Yeah, probably not going to be securing that top 4 slot there.
But man, Guillaume, looking fresh.
Yeah. So Angormus getting the kill 101 seconds after Guy That Dies does mean that, yeah, without that death, that would have been a win, but shoulda, woulda, coulda in the end, right? Guillaume going very low here.
For Guillaume.
Oh,
the ad phase happens. He resets.
The resets.
I'm shocked he resets there. The boss was dead. He could have
seen it through, maybe. They did not believe so. I'm Exile's pushing through, taking some big hits there, but manages to keep it together. Let's see if I'm Exile can secure this kill here and see what their final time is looking like. Nice positioning for the spikes there. Comfortable little dodge roll, moving into 3rd phase here in just a moment.
He practiced so much.
Last of our Tavakai kills
for him
for the day. I'm Exile had a very, very good showing this week. So you were saying they might not. I'm Exile might not be able to do the next 2 qualifiers, which is a shame if so, because he did so well today. Maybe we'll be able to make it work. Hopefully,
the thing is,
I really hope so.
Knowing him, okay, I know this guy. He says that he can't do it, but listen, we all know the truth. You know the superior video game, and that's gonna be PoE. And I believe that Exile, at the very least, hopefully will be able to show up. But the rain comes out again.
Not again. Oh no! Haunting memory. He's through it. What?
He had an instant on low life flask, and he chugged all of them, swapped over to a shield, and kicked in the block before getting refrozen by the rain. Major adjustment from last week. That was an ability that killed him twice last week. And you can see practice shows up.
Hey, that was actually really cool. At this point, like, oh, there's one health flask left. Yeah, that was it. That was an intentional pause. Wait for low life heal.
Oh!
No, dies. After surviving the icicle rain. You know what? Still, I gotta give it to him for surviving that icicle rain. All right, that'll do us for today. We hope you folks enjoyed the Exilecon Qualifier Round 2. Next week at the same time, be here for Exilecon Qualifier Round 3. And then the next one, Round 4, there'll be more drops to earn here on Twitch TV and more brutal race deaths and clutch moments and wild stuff. Both races so far have been very crazy close and had interesting stories to them this time. We had Angomas getting all of the RNG and on pace to win it, but an unfortunate upset, a misplay. I think brought on by the amulet in the end. I think the amulet killed him. That's gonna sting a little bit. But
yeah,
here's who he does next week.
Yeah, and we also have an update from production that Jiluo abandoned the race after 1 hour with 3 deaths. So anything can happen in these. But the thing is, you know, we're probably sticking the patch for Exilecon. You gotta show up every week. We still have 2 more qualifiers to get through. And you gotta get the practice in, because as things stand right now, Jiluo and Guy That Dies have qualified. But Guy That Dies has a noticeable advantage over Jiluo. So Jiluo already has to be putting in the work to catch up. And I gotta say, I'm happy to see Guy That Dies. He's become a little bit of a, I mean, I don't want to say it, but I will. He's become a little bit of a villain to some parts of the community. People liked losing him, looking at him lose last week. So seeing him come out triumphantly,
he wants it so much. He's so hungry for that win, and has been just going absolutely hard on it. And that's,
you gotta respect it.
The Huntress, when other people have weeks of practice more than you, and then to show them up this week by so much, like he was so much better than the other Huntress races this week, off such normal gear too. That's wild. So
you might not love him, but you gotta respect the hustle.
You gotta respect
the hard work.
Absolutely. Top contender for Exilecon. We got two of them decided. Who is it going to be next week? Can Angomas come back from this week and do something amazing next week? Will we see I'm Exile return? Maybe some of the wild cards like Woodish or Mostly Works. Maybe our Misty Racer 23 had another strong showing again. Maybe they can kind of just polish out those little kinks in their play. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting race next time. Thanks very much for joining me, Rise QT, once again. And thanks to production for amazing work and all the upgrades between the weeks, too. Very cool stuff. The extra ladder and everything was awesome. But that is it for us for now. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.